herself a wording. She saw the need for a friend indeed to all those deserving. She travels the world through your eyes. She listens and sometimes cries. She wants to know what makes you whole and cares without disguise. According to Lini, she welcomes you here. A laugh, a song, sometimes a tear, a friend, a foe, a stranger. Your life story, your moments of glory. You're sad, you're happy, your dreams and your worries. She wants to know the ins and outs of all of you here. According to Lini, according to Lini, she welcomes you here. A laugh, a song, sometimes a tear, a friend, a foe, a stranger. Your life story, your moments of glory. You're sad, you're happy, your dreams and your worry. She wants to know the ins and outs of all of you here. According to Lini, she wants to know what it is all about. According to Lini, you're welcome here while we all just figure life out. So sit back and yak, smile and laugh, have a cup or two. Lini is coming on right now and she welcomes you. Let's hear life according to Lini. It started with a chat, just a few of us there, talking about life and the stuff we all share. From kids to chaos and the mess we make, we bonded over laughs and every mistake. From bad hair days to a joke or two, no topic was off limits, nothing taboo. We laughed till we cried, had each other's backs. A sisterhood formed in the middle of tracks. Sisterhood of the chat, we're strong and we're loud. From West Virginia, Liverpool, we're proud. From Texas to Australia, we've got the best. Lifting each other up, we pass every test. From the East Coast to the West, we cheer. From Indiana to New York, we're always here. From late night texts to early morning calls, we've been through it all, big and small. From talking fashion to the crazy stuff, we've got each other's backs when life gets tough. We send memes and pics of the day gone wrong and the occasional "can you believe this song?" We share everything, no secrets to keep, like a wild dream that we never want to sleep. Sisterhood of the chat, we're strong and we're loud. From West Virginia, Liverpool, we're proud. From Texas to Australia, we've got the best. Lifting each other up, we pass every test. From the East Coast to the West, we cheer. From Indiana to New York, we're always here. From Tennessee, where the music plays, to sweet tea nights and lazy days. From England's hills to the country roads, our sisterhood's a bond that forever grows. Sisterhood of the chat, we're strong and we're loud. From West Virginia, Liverpool, we're proud. From Texas to Australia, we've got the best. Lifting each other up, we pass every test. From the East Coast to the West, we cheer. From Indiana to New York, we're always here. Through the highs and the lows, we've been there. When the world feels heavy, we just don't care. We're loud, we're bold, we're a little bit wild, but always there for each other, with hearts so mild. Sisterhood of the chat, we're strong and we're loud. From West Virginia, Liverpool, we're proud. From Texas to Australia, we've got the best. Lifting each other up, we pass every test. From the East Coast to the West, we cheer. From Indiana to New York, we're always here. So here's to the sisters who make life so sweet. We've got each other, no defeat. From the chat to the heart, it's all the same. We're a sisterhood forever in the friendship game. According to Lini, the eclipse is to blame, but truly the Lord brought us together and we'll never be the same. class in every way. Talking fast, not a pause in sight. Leanie's got my head in a spin tonight. Oh, shut up, Leanie, can't you see? You talk so much, it's drowning me. With your white hair and sassy flair, just give me a breath, let me share. Podcast queen with a wicked smile, running jokes mile after mile. Try to speak, but in she slides. Leanie makes it a wild ride. Leanie makes it a wild ride. Oh, shut up, Leanie, can't you see? You talk so much, it's drowning me. With your white hair and sassy flair, just give me a breath, let me share. Oh, Leanie, don't get me wrong, can't imagine life without your song. But girl, you've gotta let me in. This ain't just your show to win. So here I stand with my mic in hand, trying to keep this show as planned. Leanie laughs, guess it's gonna stay a little secret every day. So here I stand with my mic in hand, trying to keep this show as planned. Leanie laughs, guess it's gonna stay a little secret every day. Oh, shut up, Leanie, can't you see? You talk so much, it's drowning me. With your white hair and sassy flair, just give me a breath, let me share. Let me share. Oh, Leanie, don't get me wrong, can't imagine life without your song. But girl, you've gotta let me. This ain't just your show to win. Oh, shut up, Leanie, can't you see? You talk so much, it's drowning me. With your white hair and sassy flair, just give me a breath, let me share. Oh, Leanie, don't get me wrong, can't imagine your life without your song. But girl, you've gotta let me. This ain't just your show to win. So here I stand with my mic in hand, trying to keep this show as planned. Leanie laughs, guess it's gonna stay a little secret every day. So here I stand with my mic in hand, trying to keep this show as planned. Leanie laughs, guess it's gonna stay a little secret every day. According to Leanie, coffee's king. Cigs in hand, she does her thing. Maggie's got the jokes we know. Together we are ready for the show. Chat's on fire, the crowd goes wild. Maggie's clips just drive me wild. Leanie's love for Java steams. We're living out our crazy dreams. On a chorus with Leanie, life's no lie. Sip that coffee, watch time fly. With Maggie by her side, it's clear the best damn show around is here. Subscriptions climbing, views so high. Leanie's truth, it makes us cry. Maggie's got that wit so quick. We tune in daily for our fix. Community that stands so strong. Laughing, chatting all day long. From sunrise to the longest nights. Leanie's tales put out our lights. On a coin to Leanie, life's no joke. Spark that cig and take a toke. With Maggie by her side, it's clear the best damn show around is here. Subscriptions climbing, views so high. Leanie's truth, it makes us cry. With Maggie by her side, it's clear the best damn show is always near. On a chorus to Leanie, life's no loud. Maggie's clips just drive me wild. Leanie's love for Java steams. We're living out our crazy dreams. On a chorus to Leanie, With Maggie by our side, it's clear the best damn show around is here. The best damn show is always here. The best damn show is always near.
Hello, everybody. Good to see you
Hello,
guys.
Lainey.
Hello, Maggie. So good to hear your voice. Not that I haven't already heard it today.
Lainey's not there.
You
Oh,
guys
she
can't
is.
hear me.
There she is. I can hear
Can
you.
you hear me now? Okay, sorry. I just
Okay.
want to say hello to everybody. Thank you guys for showing up to this impromptu live that we are doing. Listen, we have no interest here whatsoever in being the first person to break news to you guys. Listen, you have other channels that you go to, and we understand that. But believe you me, as soon as we can set it up, we're watching all of the cases that we're following as well. And so we don't always look to be the first one to break that news, but we look to be the ones to hopefully get it right and be as factual as possible. Jeff is here and he says, I'm editing a bunch of videos at the moment. When are you gonna going up with your panel? Jeff, I will leave that up to you. We absolutely will leave that up to you. The reason why I'm asking Jeff to panel, in case you guys do not know, Jeff has always followed this case from day one. He helped us out when we were planning on doing the court case on this, following everything that happens in court. And all of us were taken aside line and just gutted when he took a plea deal. Jeff has kept on with this case. I think he's probably the most passionate person, and I'm not saying this because Jeff is here. I tell it like it is. If I couldn't stand Jeff, I'd be like, fuck off, Jeff. But no, Jeff, sorry about my dogs in the background. Jeff has been passionate about this case from day one, and I trust his research, because we all do different types of research, right? And some people's way of researching is watching other creators, and I don't know, then they bring it to their channel and they do theirs. The way me and Maggie do it is we always try to do it by court documents. We always try to do it by hearing from the families, what the families have to say, law enforcement, court filings, court lawyers, the judge himself. We watch all of the little preliminaries, and sometimes we will go live with those as well. But Jeff has, as I set this off to the side, still mindful of it. I've moved on with other cases. Jeff has still been studying this case in and out, up and down. He's very, very knowledgeable. So that is why I've asked Jeff if he has time. You're welcome at any time, Jeff. You just let us know when you are able to come up here if you feel like it, and give us a breakdown of how you feel. I think you kind of knew this was happening. You knew this wasn't over. You knew just him taking that plea deal, that this was in no way over. This was in no way over. And even the Goncalves family said on their Facebook page, it's not over, you guys. It's not over. So I think that's why Jeff was able just to keep deep diving and keep digging and find out things that, there are ways that I find out things and I share with you guys, so you guys know I don't gatekeep. And there are ways that people have taught me how they research, and they don't gatekeep, but we do support each other we may not always share the same views, but we support each other in the respect and the integrity of the way that we do our own research. And that's what we ask of you. Thank you, everybody, for being here. We appreciate you so much. It's so good to see other people in the house. Y'all, we started the Lindsay Clancy court case yesterday, actually full day in court. The day before that, we went over, in and out, up and down, as deep as we could go into the crime and brought everybody up to date up to the court case. And we will continue that tomorrow morning as court is not in session today. So then all this news broke. You guys probably already know way more than I know. Yesterday, while we were actually live with Lindsay Clancy. So we did some research on it. Maggie got off, she did her research. I got off, did my research, and then I got up this morning and then we went back to it. What did she find out? What did I find out? What's going on? And I was like, we have got to do an update because just like a lot of people have said, including myself and Maggie, and Lizzo, who is Maggie's co-host when she comes back, who was phenomenal in helping us cover this case. We're going to see it through. We're going to see it through one way or the other. And so here we are. So that's why it's so important, you guys, that we say, make sure your bells are turned on to all, because if something happens, we're going to get to the live on it, but we're going to do our own research first and not listen to what all the news says or what another creator says. We got to get to the bottom of it ourselves, because listen, I don't mind being wrong, and I don't mind telling you guys when I am wrong and when I'm researching something and reading it differently than what I should be reading it. And I am not a lawyer, so there's a lot of the stuff I don't understand, and I have to research that as well. But I try to be factual. And if I'm not factual, if it's just an opinion, you will always hear that from this panel. You guys, now I can't prove this, or something to that effect, that I can't prove it, but this is my opinion, because I'm allowed an opinion just like you are. I'm allowed an opinion. So, and I'm gonna voice it, but I'm also gonna respect your opinion, to your right to have your own opinion, even if it doesn't agree with mine. You will not be bashed in our chat as long as you're not coming in here and just bashing me for my opinion. And still, I'm not going to bash you in chat. I'm just going to explain myself and move on from it. And if you can't stop, then the mods will happily escort you stage right to the door, because there are plenty of channels out there that will argue points with you. I'm not here to do that. I'm just here to give the facts. I'm here to share an opinion, and I'm here to share my passion for these cases as well. Let's take roll call. Maggie, I'll let you take roll call real quick while I get a little sipper of my drink. I do want to say just hi to everybody, and Maggie is going to go ahead and do roll call. Thank you all for being here. Thank you to the mods that are here. And I did notice a very special person in chat, our matriarch, who is well loved, well respected, and here. And don't start no shit, there won't be no shit. All right, Maggie, I'm out.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for coming in at short notice. But you know what? You know how it is. If we've got breaking news, we've got to come and break it. So there you go. Hello, MJD. Hello, Barbara Smith. Good to see you, Gail. Yeah, you've got both of us tonight, Barb, again. And you know what? We've got to stop her going to sleep late, because apparently on the last two lives, she's dozed off. So we've got to watch. Hello, enjoy smiles and laughter. What's that? Hope all are being blessed, beautiful. Thank you very much, and the very same to yourself. We've got Jeff H, the guitarist. Hello, Jeff. Good to see you. And I bet you're as excited as we are about hearing this. I had an idea he was going to leave this till the last second. So he's got till September, hasn't he? And he's got to do it. So here goes. We're back in the race, Jess. We're back in the race. So yeah, thanks for coming in. And it's good to see you, Jeff. Possum, good to see you too. Hope you're having a good day or a good evening, whatever it is. And I hope you're on top and you know about the Brian Kohberger case. There's not many people don't, but you never know. Let us know if you followed it when it was when the trial was on. We covered it all, absolutely covered it all. I was dreaming of him and everything. It was that bad, honest to God. Hello, sunshine. Good to see you too. Hope you're all right. Anyway, I'll pass you over to Leni, and she'd have had a swig now. Now I've got something to read just to go over what's happening if Lainey wants me to, but I'll have to ask the host. Lainey?
Yeah, let me just say hi to a few people that I see coming in after Maggie have finished that. Sunshine, good to see you, my Idaho friend. Enjoy smiles and laughter. Always good to see you, Love Bug. Listen, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate you on such short notice. We threw this together, you guys. Maggie, let's just go ahead and do it. Let's just go ahead and jump right into what we've got, and because that's what everybody's here for. So let's just go ahead and get this. Bees, I know who you are, girlfriend. I just didn't know if you wanted everybody else to know.
Yeah, me too.
So we know who you are,
Bee.
girlfriend. Thank you. Thank you to the mods who are here. And a special shout out, you guys, once again, to our very own FBI agent, retired 20 years, our JB. We call her badass around here. She is still recovering from a very major surgery, y'all. But I know she listens. She has been very valuable on this case as well, talking to us about how the FBI might be thinking on all of our cases. She helps us out with that. What should have been done, what could have been done, what might have been done, and things like that. So she gives us a perspective of the FBI side of this. And because I think that's hard to understand sometimes. At least for me it is. I'm like, what are they doing? And I want to know as much as possible. So without her messing up the page,
inputs, her expertise.
Yeah, with that, I think we'd still be in the land of lost. But also she is very good about not betraying her profession and telling everything she knows, which that's integrity, and I appreciate
Get well soon anyway, JB. We miss you.
Aussie True Crime is in the house. If you have not subbed up to my friend Aussie True Crime, who is a fantastic support of our channel as well, and a mod here, please support please support her by subbing up to her channel. Mods, go ahead, and if you have channels, put them put it in for us in the chat, and y'all sub up to my friends. These mods and Miss Barbara, which I call Mobby, has been with us day one. We've all been together. We've grown this channel together. I would be nothing without them. And the continued support of people that come in and support us is phenomenal. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. All right, Maggie, let's go ahead and jump right into that, what you got to read there.
Okey-doke. So it says the family of one of the victims of Brian Kohberger has hit out after it emerged that he was challenging his conviction for 4 murders of students in the US state of Idaho. Kohberger was sentenced last year to 4 consecutive terms of life in prison after pleading guilty to charges of murder in the November 2022 killings. In recent days, Kohberger told the New York Times he was taking back his plea, which was made to avoid the death penalty. He said it addressed it on false promises and blatant disinformation. The family of Kaylee Goncalves, one of the students who was killed, said that Kohberger was a narcissist who appeared to have changed his position. He chose not to leave his fate or the facts of the case to a jury. Their statement from the Goncalves family said, he never cried foul, never claimed he was ununiformed or pressured, and never suggested there were problems with the discovery materials he and his counsel had reviewed for 2 years that he should have been challenged. The Goncalves family went on to say, the real tragedy was the amount of attention that Kohberger was now receiving at the expense of the victims. Kohberger was convicted of stabbing to death housemates Kaylee Goncalves, Ethan Chapin, Xana Canoodle, and Madison Morgan, who all attended the University of Idaho in their off-campus home on the 13th of November 2022. The case shocked the small student town of Moscow and made national headlines for almost 2 months before Kohberger was arrested. Kohberger was a criminology doctorate student at a different institution, Washington State University. He never shared a motive with the court, and it is not clear why he would have driven to another campus to brutally stab 4 students. Investigators were unable to link him to the victims, although they presented compelling evidence that put him at the scene of the crime. In his statement to the New York Times declaring his new intention to enter a not guilty plea, Kohberger protested his innocence and said he was offering prosecutors another chance to file for the death penalty if they wanted to. Idaho Attorney General Raul Labrador paid tribute to the victims' families, saying they had already endured unimaginable loss and now must face today's deeply painful news. Labrador's statement added, "My office stands ready to do whatever is necessary to ensure justice is fully carried out." There you go.
Thank you for that recap. I just want to remind everybody, like I said last year, all last year, we did a whole series on this case. So we do have a playlist. Listen, I'm not tooting, this channel's horn, toot toot, but if I do say, we worked the hardest that we've ever worked on any case on this one right here. And as factual as we could be, as unbiased as we could be, until we just couldn't be untruthful to ourselves anymore. We just had to put it out there. I mean, everything pointed in this way. And so we do have a playlist on going over all the court documents, play by play. Many people like Jeff coming up on panel. We could not have done that without our friend Lizzo, who co-hosted this. We went live twice a day on this trial, twice a day, to get us all up to par and ready for this trial that was supposed to be the new trial of the century. Everybody was watching it. I don't know too many people that didn't know about it. And then to be told he's taken the plea. Oh man, were we all just like, I mean, I just want to fall on the floor and have a total tantrum and a breakdown and ask for pills, because I was so upset about it. But I do remember a lot of people, after we were all just sitting back and we were all, it felt like we were mourning something, right? Because we had worked so hard and we're just so geared up. And I think any one of us could have gone against and done the prosecution on this, because, or at least sat on the prosecution, because we had it going on. Okay. So I encourage you, if you feel like it, go and watch some of the playlists. And like I said, we were as factual as possible. Second of all, I want to say, just remind you that there will be times you see, according to Leanie in the chat, that is 2 of us talking. The one that is typing in chat is me, Leanie, and the other one is
Maggie
Front, and she is not English, you guys. She is Scouser, and there's a big difference because she always wants to look good. And she is typing in lower caps. So if you're wondering who's the one that is making, just remember, Leanie's top and high. Leanie is screaming as always, because I do that. I scream a lot and I get frustrated a lot quicker than Maggie does. And Maggie is talking in lowercase. Everybody loves Maggie. Everybody loves Maggie. Jennifer says part of the plea deal should be he has to say what he does, and it has to match the evidence. This judge made BTK do it in Kansas.
Is he going to be made to say why? Is he going to be made to say where the what is it? What the knife is? Like everyone else has got to tell him stuff. Why didn't he? Never opened his mouth. Never got asked anything. Now, am I right that you in the Americans you stay, you ask?
Okay, so maybe that's a good question for Jeff. because he's more knowledgeable about the judicial side of it and the what goes on there. I would think that they should make you say, where all this stuff is, but let's just face it. The Harmony Montgomery trial is going back to trial, you guys. Her dad got off on a technicality. We're going to go back through that trial. He never had to tell anybody where the body was, which is the saddest thing. And I think this judge screwed it up in the Kohberger case, because he should have put in the stipulation, okay, we'll go ahead and accept your plea, but you're going to tell us where the knife is. We're going to end this once and for all. Where is the knife? And if he said, I'm just not going to say, then okay, no plea, let's go to trial. That's what should have happened. The judge had every right to do that. The judge let us down. Oh, Hitler, the whole thing. The people I was rooting for, the prosecutor, Santa Claus, I just want to kick him in the nuts. I'm just over, these people, what I looked at watching the preliminary hearings and seeing the prosecutor sit there, and the way he was just nonchalantly writing notes here, there, not a break on his face, not a wide open mouth. I am very animated, so you could tell just my facial expressions. He had zero. So I was reading him that, that confidence, you guys, he's into himself. He knows stuff we don't know. No, he was betraying us the whole time. And I was hurt. Physically, I tell my husband, I said, he's like, why are you so upset at this? I was like, because I'm invested. I feel like a family member. And when you get invested in these cases, like Nancy Guthrie case, I feel like she's my grandma, or my mother maybe. And I just need to find her. I just want to go find her. I just want to find her. And there's a little bit of breaking info on that, but we're going to do this one first, because this is the one I think that put, according to Leanie, on the map as far as being us going into true crime. So, listen, we're not abandoning at all any of the cases that we're following. The mods are following, I'm following, Maggie's following, everybody's following. Lizzo is still following, even though she's not on YouTube, and I demand that Lizzo comes back, because this is hers. This is part of the baby she was rocking right now. So I demand
she was doing Nancy Guthrie.
Nancy Guthrie.
Me and you did
this.
Now
we had Lizzo up a couple times, and Lizzo,
she was the devil's advocate. Remember?
Yes.
She was doing it with Beth.
Yeah, and we definitely had two different opinions on this, but I mean, it just was so good. It was so good because she had an opinion, I had an opinion, Maggie had an opinion, but we're just like, some of the things that, even though I didn't agree with her, some of the things she said made sense. So damn, I had to pick up that puzzle piece and see if it fit any of my puzzle. And the same thing with us. We're taking your opinion and thinking, oh God, does that fit in my puzzle? Is that the piece I'm missing? I'm missing something. And sometimes differences of opinion, you can figure out what part you're missing in it, because you won't consider that. So that's the kind of YouTube I like to do, where it's made up of a bunch of different people, like a bunch of different juries, and we all have the right to have our opinion, and it matters, and we learn from each other. Thank you for the jewels. We appreciate you that so much. Jennifer says, I couldn't believe they tore that house down before the trial was supposed to start. That was unbelievable, and we agree. So for those that like I said, may not understand this case fully, maybe wasn't obsessed with it as we were, we do have a playlist. Go back, pick out a couple of them. I think that we did a pretty good job of explaining factual information that we knew just from court documents. All right, so Maggie has already given you guys a background of exactly what is going on here. I'm going to bring up a few things that I have not sat. I like to watch things with you. I'll listen to the first few minutes and be like, yeah, we need to hear this. But I like to get your reaction as you're listening to it. And I want the same for you. I want to hear you to hear my reaction, and the same with Maggie. So that's why I like just waiting and not being try to be the first on here to break anything. Listen, nobody cares about our little channel here. We're just a bunch of people that get together about things that we're passionate about, and we're quite okay with that. So I like doing it in real time, you know. So after you've had your own time to think about it, look at other channels, do your own research, bring it to me when we do it, and teach me something I don't know, because I'm hoping that's what we are doing by doing this. We're going to go back to our, is this a background, Max? No, it's an overlay because you can't see
No,
either
just
of us
an
on
overlay.
channel.
Do you want me to take
Yeah.
that off now?
Yeah, can we take that off now? Because
course.
we're going to bring some stuff. We do hear this channel has some people that we admire and respect highly for their news reporting and things like that. And 9 times out of 10, they have prosecutor experience, they have attorney experience, they have
God.
they have real police officer experience, things like that. Those are the ones that I like to hear from, and then we like to do open panel, and you come up here and just discuss what you also think about it. So let's get to this. Lizzo, come back. Your family misses you. We miss you, and
Come on, Lizzo.
you're valuable to us, and that's all that matters. Is
We
us.
need you to be devil's advocate again.
Damn. All right, so let's go ahead and bring this up, you guys. Let me make sure that I'm doing this right. I've only got 3 tabs open. We're not going to do a 3-hour live on this, you guys, because we're actually going back to court tomorrow with Lindsay Clancy. We're just bringing you up to date on what's happening. The court has not made a ruling on what Brian Kohberger has submitted to the court yet, so we're not really missing anything, but we're watching. And I'm telling you, even if Maggie and I just got off doing a live on something else, we will jump right back into this. I know we will. I know us. If I'm asleep, Maggie's away, she will jump on and talk about it. If Maggie's asleep, I'm, same vice versa. You guys know how it goes. All right, so let's get that's the only way this channel works. Everybody has a role here. Find your role and get to it. Even if it's up there in the bushes, taking notes so you have something to bash me about later. That's your role. Get the word out. All right. If your role is to mod, then mod the channel. If your role is to become a panel guest, then do that. If you have got any kind of background in law enforcement or anything like that, a lawyer, or you're just a mom sitting at home trying to raise your kids, but this is your jam right here, and damn it, you have an opinion about it and want to speak on it and get our opinion and have an adult discussion, that's your role. Get on panel. If it's your role to keep chat rolling, do that. Find your role. Everybody has a role here. Find it, do it, and it takes all of us to make this channel successful. What do you think it is? I'm good. All right, let me go ahead and pull this up. Share screen.
Please hit the like if you would, everyone, if you haven't already, and if there's anyone that's coming and would subscribe, do that as well, please. I'll be made up. Thank you very much.
All right, guys, I'm going to make this bigger so we can see it, but I just want to give a shout out to where we're getting this from. Our source, you guys, is Fox News, okay? And this was put out, I always try to find the date and, when it was put out. And I'll have Maggie do some reading for us if she doesn't mind. And then, because I know right now it's kind of hard to understand my list. That's a whole live in itself, you guys. You don't want to know right now. And Maggie reads beautifully. And let's just face it, us Americans love to hear the English read. So our source, you guys, is Fox News. This was put out July 28th, 2026, which I believe is today at 1:38 Eastern, EDT. What's that? It's something. It's somewhere. Fox is somewhere. It's EDT. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and have Max read this. Thank you. Do we have it, Pat? You guys. All right.
Is that
let's
as big
go
as
ahead.
you can get it, Lee?
No, I'm going to get it bigger. I just want to float our banners, please. Can we float our,
I've done it. It's hang on, let me go back. It is in chat. You talking about the copyright, Lee?
yes, our copyright and our banner on the bottom of the screen. Can we float that, please? All right, YouTube, do not come at us. We have put it in chat. We have put it floating across our screen. This is our Fair Use Disclaimer Copyright Act of 1976. Gives allowance for this content to be used for purposes of criticism. I'm good at that. Comment, I'm very good at that. News reporting and getting better. Teaching and getting better. Scholarship, look, we're broke. Ain't nobody paying you for anything around here. Don't pay me, I won't pay you. We're good to go. We're on even ground. Let's stay that way. And research, and believe me, I'm all about the research. So YouTube, we got it going on over here. Don't mess with us. All right, go after those bigger channels that actually like to make money off of people's tragedies. We don't do that here. All right, so there's that. Maggie, I'm going to make it bigger, and if you, as big as I can make it, hold on. If you don't mind, hold on. Why won't it let me make it bigger? Go down here and see. Oh, this is why I think. All right, now let me go back over here. I think that's the biggest I can make it, Maggie. They are not letting me do anything. And I want to read this, and if you could stop in between the pictures just so that we could show who is who here. And then after that, we will play them talking about this, Fox News talking about it. If you could start from right there, Maggie, that'd be great. Thank you so much.
Okie dokie. Let me make it bigger. You got it, you're right, okay. Idaho student killer Brian Kohberger is seeking to withdraw his guilty plea in a bid for a trial. But the family of victim Kaylee Goncalves says they're ready if he gets into his wish. We knew we'd be hearing from him again, and September was coming up, and that would be the end of his appeal. So we weren't really shocked, Christy Goncalves, Kaylee's mother, said Monday. Speaking with Fox News, Sean Hannity Goncalves said her family has remained confident in the overwhelming evidence against Kohberger and would welcome the opportunity to present the case before a jury.
Of course, we know who this is, Brian Kohberger. He's appearing in Ada County Court in Boise, Ohio, and this picture was taken on July 23rd, 2025, for sentencing in the University of Idaho murders, where prosecutors relied heavily on cell phone location data and digital evidence. So there's a monster himself. Yeah, I'm gonna call him a monster. If you're offended, don't be. Keep on, Mads.
Honestly, either way this goes, whether the judge dismisses it right out of the gate, fantastic, or if we wind up in court, we will still feel like we wanted to go to trial in the first place, she said. We are very confident in the evidence in this case, and hopefully, if we do go to trial, this time he will be convicted and sentenced to death. Kohberger, 31, pleaded guilty to murdering 4 University of Idaho students last year and was sentenced to 4 consecutive life sentences.
Right. And right here we have them, I'm guessing, well, let's just read it. Christy Goncalves arrives at the Latah County Court on Monday, May 22nd. Now remember, this case started in Latah County when he was arrested over in Massachusetts. He was put on a flight with air marshals, a small plane, back to Latah County. And then when a grand jury said, yes, indict him, then it was put in to be moved to a different county, Ada County. So this is the beginning of it all right here. This is a picture that we're seeing right here. This is still in Latah County on Monday, 22nd, 2023. The mother of slain Idaho University student Kaylee Goncalves was present for the arraignment of Brian Kohberger, who later pled guilty to the murder of Kaylee and 3 of her roommates. And it gives credit to the person who took the picture. If you can see my cursor, this is Christy now.
Yeah.
Christy has lost a lot of weight. She looks great. Kudos to her. And this was her. This is her sister, who has lost a phenomenal way to go, Ozempic. And listen, I'm not hating, because I'm on Manjaro. I was so happy when they told me I was diabetic. I was like, cool, can I get some Ozempic face going on here? Listen, no hating on me. She looks fantastic. I think she's a little skinny, but this is her. You won't recognize her today because she has lost, I mean, she's half the size now.
Can you say
This
I
baby,
as well, please?
and yes, and my Maggie girl has lost it. Listen, there's a bunch of us women that got together and we're like, fuck
We're all
this.
losing it.
Like we're in middle age and we got to do something. We got to have an affair or something. But anyways, this baby right here that she is carrying was born after the murders, and she named this beautiful baby. She named it after Kaylee, her sister, and Maddie, who was like a sister to her, Kaylee's best friend, and her name is Maddie Kay. So we just thought that was precious. So there's that, and here you go, Max. You can start from right there.
Okay, and meet the big again. Hold on. Court records show that he filed a handwritten petition for post-conviction relief Monday. In the petition, Kohberger argues that he was convinced to falsely confess, claiming his high-profile defense team of Ann Taylor, Eliza Messott, and Beaker Barlow didn't tell him about exculpatory discovery, evidence mentioned in the recent broken plea book, but never vetted in court. The news circulated after Kohberger called a New York Times reporter and claimed that he has an absolute claim of innocence. Reacting to the petition, former prosecutor and Crime Stories host Nancy Grace said Kohberger's effort to undo his plea deal should be met with exactly what he is asking for.
Absolutely.
Bring it on, Grace said on Rassi.
On Hannity. Hannity is he's a big...
Hannity, yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
sorry,
okay.
Not Rassi, it's Hannity.
It's okay.
I'm definitely needing my eyes doing. I agree with one thing Brian Kohberger said in his self-styled petition. He says justice was not served, and amen, brother, it was not served because he needs the death penalty.
Absolutely agree, 100%. What does chat say about that? What do you guys think about that? Do you think? I mean, I'm ready for it. We've not been ready for any trial like we are this one, and you know what? I'm ready for it. Some of the parents, I won't say most of them, but some of the parents wanted to go to trial. They were like, "Let's go, you little fucker! Like, let's do it." Now, last night is when I saw that all this had went down. So I went and I found his letter, y'all, and I went to his court case, and it's not listed in the court case yet because they won't put it. They will put it up as his own letter, and then they type it out in a form that is more what would you call it? More official, right? So you could read it. His handwriting is atrocious. I'm not blasting the man for that. Look, he doesn't have to have great handwriting. But it's atrocious. So
it was said. Sorry, Lee. It was
okay.
said he was autistic. Now, here's the thing, Grace. That can also come with very poor handwriting. Can be very intelligent in other fields, but the handwriting can be a problem.
Well, and all doctors are freaking autistic because none of them.
There you go. Look at the prescriptions. Exactly. No, seriously, that is one of the traits.
And my husband has the worst. And I tell him all the time, you have the worst handwriting. Can you just read to me what you wrote? Because after 25 years, I still can't read most of his words. I'm like, can you take your time? No. But anyways, I'm not, that is just what it is. So I had to go,
Jeff
and
wants to
I
go
went
to
there
trial.
first. And then I went over to another news station and found it where they had interpreted his writing. And I'm sitting there listening to them read it to me, which I love to do. Love to have people read. And I had to pause it because I had to talk to myself. And I was like, Levy, he sounds like a lawyer, doesn't he? And I was like, yeah, he does sound like a lawyer. And then, so I finished listening to it because he's even talking about himself.
Did you take a screenshot?
I've got it. Yeah. So I was
Can
thinking,
you send
okay,
it to me now, and I'll put it through AI and get it cleared, and you can put it up on the screen.
okay, give me just a second on this.
Okay.
So I finished listening to it, and then afterwards she said, it was Jeanette Levy, I think, and Jeanette Levy, and she said, I know most of you maybe think that he sounds like a lawyer. I mean, he's even using himself in the third party, like he, as his lawyer, was writing this for his client. And she said, what you have to understand, and Maggie knew this, I didn't even give it a thought, but there are law books in prison to help people like this, right? I also have to wonder, has he been keeping an eye on old Alec Murdaugh and Letitia Stout? And I mean, these were big cases in our country as well. And, they're getting new trials, and we're going to be
How
there.
many
every
are
step
getting
of the way.
retrials now, Lee?
So many retrials, so many. But I am
There's
interested in the
loads.
Alec Murdaugh murder, and of course, I think we are all interested in the Letitia Stout trial.
Oh, God, yeah.
And
the little girl, Harmony.
And Harmony Montgomery, there's another one.
Oh,
so
I
asked my beefcake about this, you guys, and I told him what was going on because he has been on 2 murder trials in a jury. And I said, have you ever heard of this happening? He said, well, of course. And he said, chances are he probably wouldn't get it, but because that was the biggest case in the nation, and they want to, and there's too many people, he said, you told me on YouTube, people are still doing everyday lives on him and talking about his innocence. He said, it's almost like you have to shut them up, to get them to quit making money off of these families' tragedies, put it out there. And I said, well, the sad thing is people do believe so much in his innocence that it doesn't, you could hand them the knife and he could stand up there and replay exactly how he did it. And he could be like, yeah, I did it. And that's how I did it. And I was like, they would still say he didn't do it. And those are called pro burgers. And if you want to be a pro burger, you be a pro burger. You go right ahead. All right, Maggie, I'm going to play this and let them talk about it real quick. Again, this is Fox News. And wait a minute. Hold on.
It's all happening now, all at once.
All at once. And that's the hard part about this. Is you go years and years and years, get nothing.
With nothing.
And
we
then
felt totally lost when this case ended. We didn't know what to do.
And then here comes Nancy Guthrie, and I mean. All right, so this is Fox News. I'm going to go ahead and play this, and then I'm going to try to find you pictures of his own handwriting. Believe me, you won't be able to read it. But anyways, or you might be better than me. I don't know. I'm blind anyways. All right, let's listen to this. Can you see it, Maggie? Watch your ears, guys.
Another Brian Kohberger, who pled guilty to murdering 4 University of Idaho students, is now attempting to withdraw that plea. The killer looking for a new trial, claiming post-conviction relief while arguing he had bad counsel. Quote, petitioner was convinced that actual guilt was not an important factor in considering plea acceptance. Death row was imminent and advised to lie. Petitioner was to gain a legal victory in entering a false plea. But that's not what he said a year earlier when he pled guilty. Listen to this.
Are you pleading guilty freely and voluntarily?
Yes.
Given your choices, do you believe it's in your best interest to plead guilty?
Yes.
Have you discussed fully the matter of pleading guilty with your attorney, and are you satisfied with the advice you've received?
Yes.
Host of the Crime and Justice podcast and the weekly rap sheet on Fox Nation, Donna Rotuno, joins me now. Look, Donna, as you well know, ineffective assistance of counsel can be an effective way to get a new trial. Look at the Martha Moxley case with Michael Skakel. But will it work here?
Well, here's the deal, Todd. As you said, he was asked these questions and he gave the answers that we just heard. And this is going to be the hurdle that he has. In Idaho, it is not enough just to say, I got bad counsel, right? It has to be a manifest injustice. And bad counsel may be part of that, but he had many opportunities to talk about the fact that he was unhappy with his lawyer and he did not do that. Remember, Todd, there were multiple motions filed in this case. There were years worth of court dates, and not once did Brian Kohberger ever speak up. And he was not someone who seemed to be shy in terms of the way he presented himself in a courtroom. So this is a very high bar for him. I do not see that he succeeds, but of course, this is an awful situation to put these families through when they thought this portion of this awful process for them was behind them. Now here we are making it front and center again.
While true, remember all family members, though, were not in favor of a plea deal. Here's Kaylee Goncalves' mom, Christy. Here's what she had to say to Hannity last night.
It's not the best news by any means, but on the other hand, I can't say that we're surprised. Either way this goes, whether the judge dismisses it right out the gate, fantastic, or if we wind up in court, we still feel that like we wanted to go in the first place, the trial. We are very confident in the evidence in this case. And hopefully, if we do go to trial this time, he will be convicted and sentenced to death.
I think we all agree that this is not likely to succeed as a maneuver by Brian Kohberger. But if somehow it did lead to a new trial, how the heck at this point do you get an unbiased jury that doesn't know anything about this case?
Well, sure, especially now that books have been written and there's been so much media attention to this, it definitely makes it more difficult. But you know as well as I do, Todd, that if you go out on the street and you ask people who the vice president of the United States is, a good portion of them can't answer the question. So you are going to find people that don't pay attention to the news. You are going to find people who don't know what's going on. So if this case were to have to go to trial again, they will be able to find a jury, although it may take a little bit longer. They will be able to find one. And Mrs. Gonzalez is correct. If he gets what he wants, then the death penalty would be back on the table. And it's like starting at square one. So I guess for the families that were unhappy with this plea, it puts them in a position where they get to have a second bite at the apple here. But I do not see this succeeding in a courtroom. I mean, if you continue to read through his filings, he talks about how he didn't think that, you know, being in prison for life was going to be as bad as it is. I mean, it's almost as if he's trying to say the conditions there are reasons to, you know, take this plea back. It's preposterous, frankly.
I think in light of that last thing you said, like, I don't like the food in prison.
Right.
That's not really a reason that you get a new trial, especially under these circumstances. Donna, as always, a pleasure. I'm sure this is going to come up on your new episode of the Crime and Justice podcast. Drops twice weekly on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, or wherever podcasts are found. You can also watch brand new episodes of the weekly rap sheet every Friday. Now,
well, there's that part, you guys. Let's bring me and Maggie back up for a second. Annie, it's so good to see you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for commenting. I appreciate it. I love it when people get in there and give their opinions of what's going on. Want to say hi to our Misty Blue too. We appreciate your support of the channel.
Hey, Misty, good to see you again, love.
Listen, I like what Annie says here. I don't understand why he would want the death penalty now when he took a plea to avoid it. Exactly.
I think he wants out. He doesn't want to be in prison. He doesn't want to go and get murdered by other inmates. So
yeah, but he's always going to be held in some sort of what do you call it? Protection there. But so was Jeffrey Dahmer, and someone turned their back.
Yeah, exactly. They'll turn the back slowly.
Honey, I'll turn my back too on him. I'd be like, oh, well, good luck mopping that floor, buddy. I'll be back.
Well, that's what I mean. So he knows he's going to get it. So he wants to choose the way he's going to get it because, you know, see what I mean?
I just think he's such a he is such an egotistical jerk that he literally thinks that he is smarter and wiser than anybody else. He proved that in his own studies and as a teacher, a teaching student. He proved that's who he is. So it wouldn't shock me that he's waited till the final hour, just like they did with the plea deal.
I'm not shocked by this at all. I do believe he's deliberately done that.
Yeah, because he did it during.
They'll all be thinking, I'm not going to do it, and he's done it.
And with the plea deal, he waited till the last hour too, right?
Exactly.
Blew us all away. And you said the whole time he's taking a plea deal, and I'm like, no, not at this point. It's too late. Well. Little Brian, he's always got something up his sleeve, obviously. Thank you for the jewels. Jeff says, there's suicide by cop. I think for Brian, this is a suicide by courtroom. Gotcha. Annie says, there is a new Idaho documentary on Netflix this evening. Say what?
Oh my God, what's it called, Annie?
Yeah, what's it called? I got to write that down.
And get that picture to me, Lee. I want to see that letter.
Okay, they showed part of it on there. That's why I didn't go and look for it. Is this for attention then? Annie, I think it is. I mean, his whole life he's been given attention, right? I mean, we noticed that in the court filings just from his parents and from the interviews that his sisters gave. He was a baby boy. Okay, his sisters, even though they had the cops called on him a couple times, and Daddy called the cops a couple times for things that he did wrong. I think they were trying to save him.
From any of them, have we, Lee?
No,
from any of it.
Not in a while. But one of the sisters did give an interview after probably about a year after I did see that one. But sometimes people call the cops. Hi, Brittany. Good to see you, love bug. Yes, he wants a new trial. And
the new series is called The Idaho Murders, a college town nightmare.
I think I've seen that one. Is that a replay?
I was just going to say, isn't that the one we've seen?
Yeah, I think so.
The new series.
We'll look it up. And that's on Netflix, right? I think this one, it might just be a new play because it's back in the news. So who knows?
Yeah, Tracy, he's wanting another trial.
It's a new one on Netflix. Okay, I will definitely check it out because listen, I'm all about it. Thank you for letting us know. Jeff says the new series, I believe, is called The Idaho Murders, a College Town Nightmare. I could swear we've seen that.
That was what the other one was called. I think the Idaho Murders, a college something.
Didn't 2020 do it? What's his name? I love him with the beautiful voice. His that of Matthew, the guy that played on Friends. What is his name, y'all?
Oh, I don't know.
He does a lot of crime. Chat knows. They'll be able to tell us. He was the father-in-law of Matthew Perry, who died 2 years ago, I think, of overdoses and anyways.
No, Annie, the other one was a very similar title.
Okay.
Are we all?
All right.
The Idaho Murders College Nightmare series starts tomorrow on Netflix, but first 2 episodes are on Amazon Prime now. Thanks.
I'm writing this all down, you guys, because y'all, I will have promo.
I'm glad because I will remember in 10 minutes.
Thank you so much for the information. I appreciate you guys. All right, so I just do want to ask this. Since they went to trial last time, since he has pled guilty, since you heard all of the victim statements, impact statements, since you heard the judge, sentence him and he, went away, and then all the stuff that came out afterwards, a guard took video of him in there, and we saw his hands and him washing his hands constantly and denying food. And then, and then we've heard where he felt like he wasn't getting enough food on his. I mean, we've heard it all, right? We heard. Since then, have any of you changed your mind whether you believe him to be guilty or innocent in this? Have you changed your mind since his plea deal? Do you believe he is still guilty, or have you changed his mind? You thought he was guilty because he took the plea and everything that happened, and now maybe he might be innocent?
Because
vice
now they're
versa.
saying he was found, it was the
Heath
hair in his
Morrison.
hand, wasn't Kohberger's.
Wendy, thank you so much for that. Thank you so much. Wendy put it in chat for me. Keith Morrison has the most beautiful voice too, for talking and reading. And I know he did an Idaho. He did a lot of Idaho, but he did do the series.
I still think bushy eyebrows.
Annie says still guilty. Jeff says, I still think
Yeah.
bushy eyebrows is guilty. I personally still think he's guilty. I
Me
mean, in
too.
that letter, Maggie, he says that he found out through somebody's book that the prosecution or the defense withheld some information from him that would prove his innocence. Now, I will say this. Possum says, I think a lot of these people would just go away if Netflix stopped doing docus on them. I agree, but damn, I love the docus. Can we do it in private and just only send it to me, and then I'll put it out to people that I like, and the rest I don't like? I'll be like, suck it. Like, no, I'm not sending it to you. It was Ethan's hair, and the defense noted that. Thank you for that information, Ethan. That's right.
So
That's
what are
right.
they going on about the hair for then? What's
Because
all this about the hair?
Ethan had hair in his hand.
Yeah, I
when he
know
was
that,
down.
but why is this now being mentioned for this new trial? This is what I read today, and I can't remember where I read it. Something about the hair in his hands, as now it's making out it wasn't Kohberger's or Ethan's.
But it wasn't. I thought I had read that the hair was not tested. Is that
Maybe
true?
that's
Is that
what I
what you
read.
guys read? That there
Maybe
wasn't
that's what
enough
I read, because I can't remember anything.
because of the broken plea book. I gotta write that down too.
If it was Ethan's hair and the defense noted that, if they were doing documentaries on BKD, I'd agree, but this is for the victims, yeah, because of the broken plea book. Maybe Brian put the hair in Ethan's hand to throw investigators off. Who'd put Brian's hair in Ethan's hands to throw? Maybe.
No, maybe it doesn't belong to anybody. It's a stranger. It's a strange DNA.
So he's gone to the barber's and picked a load of hair up off the floor,
Oh, no.
kept it with him and thrown it. Oh my God, that's going to give someone an idea now from this channel.
It is a stretch. I agree that is a stretch. But if they did not, Miss Barbara has always said he's guilty, and everything. And listen, I'm agreeing with her. I've always agreed with her. But listen, Miss Barbara, I know you fell asleep yesterday, but I'm just going to tell you right now, this has nothing to do with Kohberger, but you are completely 100% right, and we all acknowledged it yesterday, that you knew that Lindsay Clancy case, and that the number one people that should be held responsible for the deaths of those children were doctors, and we're on your we're on your timeline with that now. Jeff says Ethan's hand was between the bed and the wall. Do young girls ever cut their hair and not pick it? Well, I mean, it happens all the time. Especially my hair, it's white. I'm standing there over a white seat. Do you think that I end up getting all the hair up? I pick it up, but I have OCD. But there are times I've gone in there and found my hair, and then my dog.
Hair's terrible.
Yeah, it falls out all the time anyways. But I mean, if they haven't tested it, it very well could be Ethan's hair, his own hair. You know what I mean? Just trying to grab the knife and he's grabbing his own hair. Who knows? Has it been tested? Does anybody know if the hair in Ethan's hand was tested against Kohberger and not just heard it? I want to know if you can give me a source to go look at to see if that hair was tested against DNA for Ethan, one of the victims or Kohberger himself. I believe Ethan was stabbed in the head too. Yes, I believe that as well. And I believe he wasn't the only one. Of course, we know that by the autopsies that were released.
I don't think it's too graphic, Jeff. Can Ethan's hand curl up? Where are we? Gone off. Can Ethan's hand, where's it gone? Curl up from rigor mortis? Well, yeah, but soon, if he's has got his hand like that, it wouldn't be, the rigor mortis wouldn't cause it to curl. But if his hand is in that, position anyway, say for example, he has ripped at Kohberger's hair and his fists are clenched or whatever, they'll stay like that, won't they? Until rigor mortis, like a few hours.
Okay, that is a great question from Lulu. I'm writing that down. Lulu, one of our moms here, has also worked at she worked for the coroner, and she prepared bodies. She knows a lot about
she was a funeral director.
Yes. And so she knows a lot about what goes on there. So I'm writing that question down. I'm gonna take that straight to you.
But why can't I see her?
Because after we click off it, remember the other day you were saying, why is it going light? Some of them are light and some of them are dark. The ones that are light are ones that
you must have clicked on it. Okay.
It's have already been clicked on. Right. Okay, but so it has already been posted, but I guess I can go back since I said it and see what's going on. The official autopsy lists 4 stab wounds, an incise wound to the scalp, face, and neck. Okay. Mary Jane says the hair should have been tested immediately to find out if it's from the root, and you all know other questions, right? So, I mean, I don't know. That we're gonna have to find out how. I got to write this down for Lou, you guys, because she would be the person I would go to with this. But she worked on all these bodies. She knows how rigor mortis works and what goes on there.
Can you put a comment up on the screen because I can't see it, Liv?
Who's?
Lou's.
Lou's not here. She's not here. She's at work.
I thought you said she's just sent you the message.
No, I'm gonna send Jeff's question. This one right here.
Right. I get
Can Ethan's hand curl up from rigor mortis? Lou would be the one to answer
I'm
that.
like Miss Death. I look into everything about death, and whatever position you die in, that's what way you're gonna stick in rigor mortis. Rigor mortis doesn't make your fingers curl up. It's whatever position you're in at the time of death.
Okay. Until they reset it.
Yeah, until the rigor mortis thing is off, doesn't it? After so many hours. I think it's about 8 hours or something, 12 hours. It all depends like where the body is as well. Say, for example, if you're in bed and you're covered by blankets and your body doesn't get time to cool down and stuff like that, because you're still covered, and it all depends on a lot of things.
Annie puts in here, and I appreciate you giving me the source as well. The defense of forensic expert, Dr. Ballard, noted the hair is, help me with this, morphologically
consistent with Ethan's hair.
Okay. Thank you for that. I appreciate you so much. And Annie also says, so I don't think they did test it, but even the defense expert is saying it's Ethan's hair. Wouldn't you want to be 100% sure? I would. I'd be testing everything. Yeah. Miss Barbara says, hold on, let me get Miss Barbara. He just wants out because he thinks he's tormenting in prison will stop and the food will get better. He's so spoiled. What does he think prison is? A freaking country club? Well, he is better than everybody, Ma Barb. He just is. MJD says, I mean, if his hand was at the floor up against the wall, there definitely could be hair just on the floor. Well, the deal is, it was definitely in his hand, and it wasn't just, to me, what you would find on the floor.
I think his hands will have been like fists.
Yeah.
Didn't he supposed to have killed him without him even knowing? He was asleep. Because I'm just thinking there, maybe his hands have already been like in that type of, a fist with him fighting, but he wasn't. He didn't get to do anything, did he? Because his life was taken while he was sleeping.
Jeff, there was no defense wounds on him. Is that correct?
Say that again.
There was no defense wounds, meaning he didn't fight.
No, he didn't. They said he was asleep. He didn't have a clue.
Okay, if that's the case, that he didn't put up a fight, then how the hell would he have
his
hair
hair
in his hand?
In his hands?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because he was found in bed in the exact same position. He didn't. God help him, and thank God, he didn't know nothing about it. That's the only thing good about it, isn't it?
Yeah. Jeff says, Google search said, yes, the hands and fingers can stiffen and curl into a partial bend or fixed position during rigor mortis, but they do not lock into a parable, unbreakable death grip. I don't think it necessarily curls. It's just that your skin is losing all of that liquid. So it's like, because some people think, oh my God, they've grown hair overnight. No, they haven't. It's just that the liquid is leaving the body, so the skin is actually wilting and getting smaller. All right. Jeff said, I saw what photos? Yeah, there were plenty of photos that were put out of the crime scene, and you remember there was a bunch of photos that were put out, and then that thought that they were totally redacted, and then those of us that are just morbid curious are like zooming in. And so before they got I mean, we're the ones that told law enforcement, not on purpose, but hey, you forgot to do this one, because we can see his hand and see the hair in it. We can actually see Xana's face in this picture right here. We can see her legs, we can see her arms. And so they had to retract all of the pictures and start over, because there was many things.
He did something to Ethan's leg, didn't he? Was it the back of his knees or something? Was it his hamstrings or something like that?
So that's what we thought when they said, because they said that, but wasn't it upper, Jeff? Wasn't the stabs to his legs or the cutting of his legs, wasn't it upper thigh?
I thought it was behind his knee. You could be right, Lee, because my memory is terrible. Do you know, Jeff? Well, you'll know. Let us know, Jeff. Sure, he did something on his leg like that, though, didn't he? It was like he took his time.
Because, we thought maybe it was a
How
carving.
the hell? It's 17 minutes, wasn't it? Was it 17 minutes? How the hell? I still can't get my head around that.
I don't know, Max.
Well, but I mean, he's
we'll
done
find out. I mean, we've done many different scenarios with it. We pulled up many crimes that are just like this, where multiple adults, even the there has been children noted to kill multiple people in the same time frame with a knife, and nobody could believe it.
Well, when
I had to pull it up.
You've got to be quick, and your adrenaline. Then it's amazing what you can do when your adrenaline kicks in.
Jeff says, if I was stabbed in the scalp, I might reach up to my head, possibly pulling out some hair. Right, especially if he absolutely was asleep.
A reaction.
And he's all like, what is going on? Like, what just happened? And he grabs, and then it just, we don't know.
Put his hand to his head, and his ears come off on his hands from the blood. Right. Maybe that's what's happened.
Chunks could have come off. That's right, MJD. Hola, Lini and Maggie. I had a feeling when you heard this update, y'all might go live. Oh, girlfriend, we're on this.
Wild Angel?
And Wild Angel, we've already started a whole nother case, girlfriend. A whole nother case. But you're not too far behind on that one. We're only going tomorrow into day 2 of the court
day 2,
hearing.
We're to day 1.
We're going to see this one to the end. We're not going to be those type of people that are going to just forget about it and move on to the next thing. We will always bring the updates, and we're going to see it to the end where we think the end is. Now, I'm not going to keep going on and on because the outcome didn't happen the way that I think it should happen. The court speaks, it's done, he's put away or he's let out or whatever goes on. I'm not going to keep rolling with my theories. You guys have already heard them. What's the point? But when something else comes out, you damn right we're covering. Let's see. Jeff says, Ethan suffered 17 sharp force wounds, 4 to the scalp, woo, to the face, the neck, 1 to the upper chest, 6 incised wounds to the upper extremities, which are the arms, 6 inside stab wounds to the lower extremity, the legs. One neck wound was particularly devastating, perforating his jugular vein, subclavian vein, and subclavian artery, which was fatal. Absolutely. Annie says it might be an automatic response as BK attacked him near his neck, right? Jeff is saying his arm wounds could have occurred during the assault without necessarily representing conscious defensive action. Yeah, because what I mean, usually if they're known, how that you would know that, yes, this person fought back was much like Kaylee's, much like Maddie's, Kaylee and
oh my God, I'm trying to think of it myself.
Xana. They definitely had stab wounds to the point where some of their fingers were just about chopped off, that they were, you could totally tell those are defense wounds. Annie says, Mary, yes, some even redacted lower extremities. Yes, Jeff, it might be a reflex. Jeff says maybe Brian doesn't want everyone in prison to hear about all that Brian did, to strike some fear in other inmates so they don't mess with him. Oh God, I hope they mess with him. I love it. All right, guys, we're caught up in chat. Thank you guys so much for being here. Do us a favor, if you don't mind hyping this so that the people who are supposed to be part of this channel will find us and hopefully come here and be a part of us. But if nothing else, just double tap your screen. Magic happens if you feel like it. If you don't, hey, hit the thumbs down. At least YouTube will know that you interacted and hated me. Just kidding. But no, I'm not kidding. But YouTube will know that you interacted with the channel. All right, let's bring up something else. You guys, got to bring up some Pretty Eyes. I trust his reporting. He's got way more credence than I ever will have, and he's got sources that I wished I had. So I call Mr. Pretty Eyes my own source. And Miss Barbara lives in place. I have people that live in place, like for Nancy Guthrie. Miss Barbara lives right there. She tells us about the locals and what's going on. Y'all, we got this covered. Okay, we got it covered. All right. We probably think we're bigger than what we are, but listen, someone's got to toot our horn. Toot, toot. We're doing it. All right, let's look at Mr. Pretty Eyes right here. Let's see what he has to say about this. This is Brian Enton, you guys. I already gave him his thumbs up. Listen, he walks like a girl who's got to pee. I don't fault him for that. I giggle at him, but he's smart and he works damn hard and he tries to report on things honestly with some integrity, and I dig him. All right, so let's see what Brian, and y'all, he never tries to strike me, unlike other people.
God bless him.
2020, 48 hours. Would you leave us alone? Anyways, we don't play their shit anymore. We figured out. All right, here's Brian Enton. He just posted this, you guys. Let's see. 8 hours ago on Brian Enton Investigates. Listen, if you want to give him a follow, and I dig him. I subscribe. I dig Brian. All right, let's hear what Brian has to say about this whole Kohberger calamity fiasco that's going on.
Appreciate everybody for watching. Appreciate everybody who has subscribed. I'm actually in the desert right now. I'm in Arizona. I was out here. It's really hot, by the way. It's like 110 degrees. It's insanely hot. And I was out here working on a Nancy Guthrie story when I got word that Brian Kohberger is now claiming that he is innocent and that he plans to try and appeal and reverse his plea deal where he admitted guilt to killing Kaylee Gonzalez, Madison Mogen, Ethan Chapin, and Xander Kernodle. I kind of had an inkling that this might be coming because there was a deadline that he had to hit if he was going to appeal. But it's interesting. I'm going to go over all of the new elements in this episode. I have his handwritten letter that he wrote, the affidavit that he's filing to try and get this whole thing started. I'm talking to Steve Gonzalez, victim Kaylee Gonzalez's dad, about what he thinks about all of this. Now he's processing it. And I am talking to a attorney in Idaho, which is important because you have to understand the law in Idaho to know how this is going to move forward. If it's possible, there's a Supreme Court case that comes into play. And I'm going to kind of cover all factors here in this episode of Brian Entin Investigates. I'm going to get in the car because it's so hot. All right, hey guys. So I found some shade. I actually didn't get in the car, but I found like a little shady area. But it's again just like super hot. I knew that. So like, there's a group of reporters that I'm friends with that we've all covered the Brian Kohberger case together, and we were texting the last couple of weeks thinking that the possibility of appeal could be coming, or Kohberger trying to get an appeal, because there's a deadline. And I think it's like in September, like he had to file something by then or he would lose his chance. So it's kind of something that I was keeping an eye on, but I wasn't really sure he would do it. And this is the reason why. I kind of thought with him, he would have nothing to lose. Like, why not? He's stuck in jail for the rest of his life, in prison for the rest of his life. He might as well try. The worst thing that happens is he gets a new trial and he gets the death penalty, and then he sits on death row for decades. So like, I wasn't really putting it past him. And also there's been all these books and the Broken Plea book and all these, articles and podcasts and stuff that he's probably seen kind of like revving him up to do it. But the reason I thought maybe he wouldn't do it, and now we know he is, but the reason I thought maybe he wouldn't is I thought maybe he wouldn't want to do it to his family. I was at like almost every hearing, and his parents were at several of them, and they were crying. And I know he was close to his mom. And that was one reason I thought maybe he wasn't going to do it, just to like kind of spare them the agony of going through all of that, bringing the whole case and them and the family back into the limelight. But in his statement, he says that apparently they stand by him in all of this. So maybe they're happy he's doing this. I don't know. But I'm going to go through everything with you, everything new that's happened with Brian Kohberger now saying that he is not guilty, despite the fact that he pled guilty and admitted to killing the Idaho 4. I'm going to get to Steve Gonzalez's interview in a second. First, let me read you, though. So Mike Baker is the reporter with the New York Times who broke the story. He's a very, very good reporter. And you're going to hear, actually, I got some information out of Steve, because Mike Baker, I talked to Steve. Apparently, Mike received a collect call from Brian Kohberger, and that's how all of this started in terms of this getting reported out, which is kind of interesting. But this is the statement that Brian Kohberger gave to the New York Times, to Mike Baker. Over a year later, it is self-evident that in State versus Kohberger, justice was not served. Unanswered questions seem to multiply with each piece of discovery unsealed, and the public demands the truth. Unfortunately, the truth shall never be derived from the state's myopic narrative, a work of fiction which has yet to evolve since the PCA was released nearly 4 years ago, and its faulty premises were never challenged at trial. Circumnavigated by a broken plea, and it's interesting he says broken plea, considering that's the book that came out. But circumnavigated by a broken plea, the trial never provided the public the clarity conducive to closure, and justice shall remain objectively miscarried unless the plea is withdrawn. I hereby declare my intention to enter a not guilty plea and welcome the state the opportunity to prove their case at trial, as well as to again file for the death penalty. My actual innocence is my truth, and the plea, hinged on by false promises and blatant disinformation, must be withdrawn. Thank you for all who believe in my innocence and continue to critically analyze the case. I send my love to my family, who have never wavered in their belief in who I am, their belief in my innocence. Which again, that part stood out to me. And granted, like when the family has spoken out and when Brian Kohberger's sister gave that interview to the New York Times, you know, they would say that they felt for the victims and all of that, but never said that they thought Brian Kohberger was guilty throughout any of this. And remember, when he pled guilty, he also didn't confess, which I'm going to talk about later. I mean, he confessed in the sense that he pled guilty, but he didn't have to give a statement where he said, I did it and this is why I did it. So this is the affidavit that he wrote, and this is actually all handwritten by him. He wrote this in prison, so that he doesn't have a lawyer yet, and he's claiming that his lawyer did a bad job, Ann Taylor, which, by the way, anybody who followed the case, most people I know, including myself, Ann Taylor did a pretty good job, and even the victims' families would admit that at times. Man, she's really slick. So the fact that he's now turning on her is interesting. But he wrote this affidavit all himself. So according to the affidavit of facts in support of post-conviction petition, Kohberger wrote he was, quote, convinced to falsely confess to capital murder. Convinced to falsely confess to capital murder, and basically said that him and his family had these meetings with the defense counsel and that he was convinced that this was legally the right thing to do, even though he says he's not guilty. He says there was withholding of exculpatory discovery. And he's talking about, he says, clumps of unknown hair found in Ethan Chapin's hands. So in the autopsy photos, you can see that there's some hair in Ethan Chapin's hand. Not in the autopsy, but in the crime scene photos. I don't know that I would call it a clump. And the defense did know about that hair because I went back and looked in the filings and they knew about it. And that hair was tested and it did not come back to Brian Kohberger's DNA, but it was never tested more to figure out whose hair it was. But keep in mind, his DNA was on the knife sheath. The cell phone tracking tracked him to the house. I mean, there was plenty of evidence there, which I've gone through a million times. It says petitioner was convinced that actual guilt was not an important factor in considering plea acceptance. Death row was imminent and advised to lie. Petitioner was to gain a legal victory in entering a false plea. And he basically says that death row was described to him as this awful place and that he was convinced that he should avoid death row, plead guilty, avoid the death penalty, even though he now says that he was innocent. Even though he now says that he's innocent. But again, I mean, I was there and this thing was drawn out, you guys know, for years. He could have had a trial. It was set to go to trial. I was shocked when there was the plea deal. And he pled guilty. He sat in that courtroom and he pled guilty. And he was even asked, is your lawyer competent? Are you happy with your lawyer? He still pled guilty. I just want to replay that for you again, just so we can all relive that moment from about a year ago.
Are you pleading guilty because you are guilty?
Yes.
Okay, so that was from the guilty plea. What's going to happen now? That's the big question. So there is a process here. We have a system. We live in America. So a judge is this is going to go before a judge, and a judge is going to have to decide how this proceeds. Is there going to be a hearing? I kind of think there likely will be a hearing, and maybe it will end there. Because remember, he agreed not to appeal. So there'll likely be a hearing, I think. But does it go any farther than that? Will he be assigned another public defender to sort of handle this appeal process? I spoke with Edwina Elcox, and she's an attorney in Idaho that I have gone to several times since all of this started, because you have to look for stuff like this. There's an Idaho Supreme Court case that comes into play with about whether he can appeal. You have to go to people in the state to get it, because they're the ones who understand the state law. Just getting some attorney from another state doesn't really work in a situation like this. So I want Edwina, by the way, and all of the lawyers I've talked to are not convinced that this is actually going to work, that he's going to get an appeal. But I want to play for you for what she said to me. Hey, Edwina, thank you for taking the time to talk with me. I really wanted to talk with you when I heard about this because I wanted someone in Idaho to kind of explain, because the big question, and I know there's an Idaho Supreme Court case, the big question is, Kohberger says he wants to change his plea, but can this really go anywhere?
I don't think so. my very strong sense is this will go nowhere. Obviously, his claims are under this umbrella of ineffective assistance of counsel. And first of all, he had a team of lawyers. And so each of those lawyers individually has their own ethical obligations to him as the client. And this notion that he was somehow bullied into taking a plea, obviously probably will not carry, I would say, much weight, given the fact that Judge Hippler went through with him during his guilty plea, extensively to make sure individually on a basis that his plea was knowing and voluntarily given. And then this other assertion that there was somehow sort of exculpatory evidence that he perhaps is now asserting that he wasn't aware of, didn't understand, etc. That with this clump of hair that was in Ethan Chapin's hands, I do not see this going anywhere. Obviously, we know that the defense team litigated this case up and down, that there were motions filed for every iteration that it seems that we publicly knew of, that they could think of in this case. And you're telling me that when we get to this plea was on the virtual eve of trial, right? That we all anticipated that this case was proceeding forward to trial, that these attorneys hid an exculpatory piece of evidence from Kohberger to get him to enter a plea when we all thought that this case would be proceeding to trial is just is ludicrous in my mind.
Okay, so that was Edwina. Appreciate her for taking the time. We'll see how this plays out. I spoke with Steve Gonzalez.
All right. I got to stop it right there, you guys.
Can I ask you who she is, Lee?
Okay, she is a lawyer in the state of Idaho. Remember, each of our states, we have our constitutional law, and then we have state laws. And so each one of our states have it's different in each state, just a little bit. It's not far off. That's why they always cite case studies from Massachusetts, let's say.
But is she good? Does she know what she's on about? Because she doesn't reckon it's going to go anywhere.
She knows Idaho state law. She doesn't. All the lawyers, Brian said, all the lawyers that he has talked to in Idaho that know state law says that this probably will go nowhere. But I was listening to a lawyer say, wait just a second. If he is citing ineffective counsel, that is a reason that is a good reason that they will have to consider. If you guys remember when we went over this before and we were preparing for trial, and it all came out, we all said after he did this, we all said, yep, he's going to go ahead and do some appeals because he's been told to. And Ann Taylor, if you remember, who was a beast, but I don't like her. Ann Taylor accepted another trial before this one was supposed to go to court. In fact, that Hippler was like, hey, why would, you're telling me you're so overwhelmed. You've had years to go over this. If you're so overwhelmed, why did you take on another death penalty case? To which she didn't have much of an answer to, you guys. So I will say this, even though I don't like Hippler because I don't like him either anymore. I think he's a puss. I think he should have put in writing, I will absolutely let you go, because it's up to the judge ultimately. Take that plea if you let us know where the clothing is and where the knife is, so that we can test it and put this to rest. That way there is no ifs, ands, buts about it. You're the one that wore. Their blood is on your clothing. Your DNA is in that clothing, everybody's blood is on that knife and your DNA is on that knife. We need the knife. So that would have put it to rest. That's all the evidence anybody needs. But I do, so I wanted to jump in here really quick and say this, and I always try to speed through you guys because he does have an ad that's going to play because he gets paid for doing this kind of stuff. I try to speed through those ads, you guys. We are not, we do not have, we are not bound by their ads making money. And so we speed through the ads. We're not listening to that crap. I'm not getting paid for it. You're not getting paid for it. We got no time. So, but I do want to say this because I do try to stop and follow the rules a little bit. I kind of walk the line with the rules. But in Brian's, in the letter that he wrote, first of all, I'm just curious if it sounded like he was really being his own lawyer in his handwritten letter. And also, what I want to say is, I can't stand people that use this term. Not people. I just can't stand this term, I should say. The term of, Maggie and I were talking about it earlier, the term of my truth. And in Brian's letter to the court, he said, my innocence is proved by my truth. Okay, just because it's your truth doesn't mean it's the truth, right? There are three sides to everything. There is his, hers, his, whatever, the two people involved, 3 people, 4 people, and then there's the truth, because we all see things differently. I mean, me and Maggie could be sitting there watching the same damn car crash, and I guarantee you, we're not noticing the same things in that car crash. That's why you have all different people come up and testify, because one may have seen something that the other one didn't see, and you got to figure out which truth you're going to believe. So just because you say, just because you say it's my truth doesn't make it the truth. It's the truth that I'm going to tell you and hope you believe. Okay. So when people say my truth, to me, they're saying, I'm going to tell you what I want you to believe. Maybe I've made it a little bit more edgy, or, played it up on my side and downplayed it on their side, but it's my truth. It's the way that I see it. Well, the way you see it, you may be seeing it through some kind of mentally challenged brain and dysfunction. Okay. So I don't care about your truth. I care about the truth. But that's what he put in there, that is his defense, because he is now going to defend his truth. Fuck your truth. I don't care. I wouldn't mind going to court. I absolutely wouldn't mind going to court. I want to hear what all went on. And I want to hear, I would love to hear his sickening self try to defend himself, to tell you the truth. Because you guys, this is all new ball games. Bill Thompson has already retired. Yes. Can he be consulted? Yes. I'm sure he'll allow himself to be consulted. Ann Taylor, obviously, is being fired because that was the plan all along. Listen, I totally believe that Ann Taylor and all of that, I mean, he had a team. They challenged everything. Even though I don't like her, because I think there was a lot of lies told or fabrications, Ann Taylor pulled every stop she could to take the death penalty off the table, because I believe she knows the case is cut and dry. He did it. They have enough evidence. So she was just she wasn't trying to get him off. She was trying to just get the death penalty taken away. And they said, we're not doing it. And because we know we can prove this case that he's guilty beyond a shadow of a doubt, and he's going to death. Okay. Remember, they just reinstated, I think they just reinstated Idaho's, what do you call it? The firing squad. So, he could have been the first person to go up against the firing squad, right? So, and for some people, that's, not something that they would rather do. I know there is another state, I think it's Florida, that you actually get a choice. You get 3 choices. You get Old Sparky, you get the lethal injection, or you get firing squad. So I watched a couple cases where they actually took the firing squad and stuff like that. But so that whole my truth thing, anybody that tells me this is my truth, is it? You telling me it's your truth is still could be a lie, because it's just the way you want me to believe it. And I'm sorry, that's just the way that I take that. So we will get right back down here. She did her job, to be fair. You're right. She did. And I think at the end, she said, look, you've got to take a plea deal. They are going to hammer you. The evidence is too strong against you. Take the plea. At least get done with the death penalty. That's what I think. I think that was the last thing that she could offer him. Now, do I like her? No, but I do think that she did the best she could to get the death penalty off the table, which is what you want your lawyer to do for you. All right, let's get back to Brian here. Do you have anything to say about that, Maggie?
No, at the minute I'm taking a picture to try and get this, what he says in his letter.
Okay.
I've just took a picture of his letter. I'm going to try and make AI do it and see if I can read it out.
Okay. All right, let's keep going with Brian Inton, Mr. Pretty Eyes himself. And like I said, when he starts doing his, his ads to get paid for him, if that's what he does, that's what he does. But we're certainly not listening.
Who is obviously Kaylee Gonzalez's dad, one of the victims who I've been in touch with since the beginning of this whole thing. And remember, they wanted him to have to confess at the plea. First of all, they didn't want the plea. They wanted a trial so everything would be out in the open. They also wanted, if there was going to be a plea, they wanted him to have to confess. So that, talk about why he did it, how he did it, so that they could avoid something like this. But the prosecution didn't require that in the plea deal. And I remember them bringing that up many times. But anyway, I spoke with Steve a little while ago after this news came out, just to get his take. And he's got an interesting, obviously, perspective on all this, but he also shares some interesting information about how he found out that this was happening. Listen to what Steve said. Hey, Steve. It's nice to see you, as always. I guess I first wanted to ask you just like how you and Christy are doing, and Olivia, and I know you were at work today. I was just talking to the people I'm with, and like you forget that like Steve has to work during the day, and he finds out these things like. He's got a job like everybody else. You know what I mean? Like you guys are trying to go on with your lives, and then something like this happens. Like, how are you guys doing?
Oh, yeah. I learned quite early. I think I probably knew what was going on. At least the author, gave me a heads up, which I really appreciated, and that gave me some time to just let the kids know, let the wife know, hey, this is what's happening. And, talk to Shannon. Let's figure out, the best approach to how this works. And so, yeah, that's how our day started. And we just, we've kind of learned to just roll with it. And there's only so much you can do. And, hopefully you can lean on the people that you trust and love and, get through it.
When you said you spoke to the author, was that of the book, The Broken Plea book?
No, that was Baker who wrote.
Oh, I see. The New York Times, the reporter. So he gave you a heads up before.
Yep, he did. And that's what I was saying. I really appreciated that because it's just better to know what you're about to face than to just get blasted with, there's so many ways to communicate with people now. So you're getting instant messages and you're getting Facebook alerts and you're getting media alerts. It just gets overwhelming. So you kind of just get yourself, all right, this is what my day is going to look like, and I'm ready to deal with it.
Did you suspect it at all? Because I had heard maybe like 2 weeks ago, I started to hear like, oh, there is this deadline and he could possibly file something. Did you hear any of those rumblings? Did you have any like sort of feeling this might be coming?
Yeah, we had heard little rumors about this. And I'll be honest, they were saying it was going to be a little bit longer. Possibly in September, but they told me nothing to really worry about. It's not something that it's preventable. You can't prevent it at all. So, just it's coming down the pipe, and get your family in order.
Are you worried about it at all?
No, yeah. At first, I was a little bit worried because there's a lot of angles at which you can attack. The truth. There's a lot of ways you can go in and say, hey, now that I've seen every bit of evidence, can I poke a little hole through there? Can I find a little place where they didn't have me covered? So I was worried that he would have something really good and juicy in there. And So when he writes like he's in third grade. So when you can finally piecemeal what he's saying, and got to write it out, and like it's like he needs a translator. But once you figure out what he's saying, there was nothing there. I mean, it was really, really a relief to know that he didn't have something that was big, because when you've done the crime, you would know how to find where there's little mistakes, where they've got things wrong, because you were there. So you could poke at those things. And I was just nervous about that.
Yeah, I wonder if after a year in prison there, he's in solitary, or I don't know, he might still be, if this is just like a boredom, like, why not? Like, what do I have to lose at this point? The only thing that I was hesitating, thinking maybe he wouldn't do it, was if he cared about his parents in that way. You're putting your whole family through this again. But then I was thinking, his parents have never come out and acknowledged his guilt, really. No. And even the sister who did the interview, said that her heart went out to you and to the victims, but she never said, I can't believe my brother did this.
No, I was a little surprised that he kind of brought them into that paper that he wrote up, the post-conviction relief. He wrote that they were witnesses. So that is something that I'll have to dig into a little bit, to figure out, like, I did ask a little bit, like, is it normal for, mass murderer to have his family surrounded by him when he's getting a plea deal? That seems very odd. But, and I was told that is odd, but maybe, so we're going to figure out what was going on there. But long story short, they're like, it's nothing that can be prevented, and there's not much to be worried about unless he has some type of angle that he's been working on for 3 or 4 years, and that's what he's dropping, and that's mainly what we were concerned with.
You wanted a trial all along. Yeah. I mean, a lot of the things you wanted, it's kind of like people thought you were a little nutty in the moment, and then we kind of keep seeing these things happen where it's like, even you immediately pushed for a confession. You said, if you're going to give him the plea, at least give us that, where he has to verbally confess. I mean, are you kind of looking back thinking, like, I wish they would have done some of these things?
I feel aces. I feel like my legal counsel was right on, told me exactly what to expect and what we could do. We knew that he has like this cult like following of people. So the only way to, pull a cult out of something like that is with hard facts that they can't compose and twist and turn into something else. So if he would have admitted about the second weapon or something along those, where experts could opine on that and say, hey, that fits these details that we've never released, that would have been great. But, Thompson basically said he's the big boy and he had no worries. And I think his official statement was, we don't need it. And he would just probably lie to us if he did. So what that means to me is this will be over, in 6 months. We won't be dealing with this for years. And, if we are, then somebody probably should have went back and did his homework and made sure that he got a confession, because, he said it wasn't needed. So I'm going to hold him to that.
Yeah, all the lawyers that I've spoken to today seem to think this is kind of like he gets the right to a hearing. This will kind of be a moment, and then it's kind of a closed case after that.
Yeah, it's part of a process that was probably established in case law 10 years ago, and now everyone uses that as the script to go through it. So I'm frustrated for Idaho that we've wasted so much money on a guy who was never even a member of our state. We've really been stuck with a huge, heavy burden of $8 million, and we get to let this loser go back at us, and it's a bummer. And I really feel for my fellow Idahoans and what we have to go through, but I really appreciate that they've always been there for us, and I'll stick with it. We'll fight as hard as we can, but I think this is just a little process here, and it's not going to turn up. And I'm hoping that we don't go waste a bunch more money on a case that's already been solved.
Did you talk to Bill Thompson, or did they call you? Did they know this was coming?
I I got the sense that that call was a collect call, very recent, and no, they didn't know. So that's not word. That's just how it was described to me. Individual called. It was like a collect call from prison, picked it up, and bam. Now, he said he did have a little backstory with this, with working with the sister. So maybe there's a little bit of trust established there, but that's how it was described to me. So I would think that.
Are you talking about the call with Mike Baker?
Mike Baker, yeah, that's
how
how he
a
described
collect
it.
call from Kohberger.
Mm-hmm. And
Okay.
he was pretty shocked, and he just told him, "This is what I'm doing. This is my plan." So that's why I'm reading into it. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if this was new to him as well, to Thompson as well.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah. So yeah, it's not like Bill Thompson saw that. But has he called you since? Had they called the families today to sort of be like, "Hey, don't worry," or "This is what we're going to do"?
We did get an email from, I believe, Lawtow County Court that basically just said this is the process that happens. Nothing to be concerned. We're not saying anything that was dropped in that write-up that concerns us.
If there, I mean, it sounds like there will probably be a hearing regardless. Would you guys go to the hearing, do you think? Or I guess it's still a ways out.
Good question. You know what? Probably just for the fact of honoring my community, honoring the process and everything that we've gone to. I'd probably show up just to be thankful for everything that's happened. And like I said, $8 million, that should be respected. How hard that the state fights for life. We put our foot down, and we've tried to make sure that this doesn't become a new normal here. And that means I probably need to show up at the court case, regardless if it's a petty thing or not.
How's everything going with the foundation?
Things are going really well. We've got to the point where we've gotten all the paperwork done, the 501(c)(3)s and all that stuff is done. So now we have to really like hone down on finding the right case where we find a family that is got like a prosecutor or an investigator who's willing to reach out and talk to us and say, "Hey, all right, how do I use this money to find a lab? Here's my lab. Do you guys have a connection?" So yeah, we're going through that. It's been very healthy for the girls to have something positive to work towards, to not just say that something good is going to happen out of something bad, but actually be making good happen. So yeah, it's been really good. It's actually been a nice relief. It's probably been more therapeutic than talking on the couch.
Yeah, right. Yeah, like you said, you're doing something. I'll put a link below to the foundation so people can check it out. Is there anything else, Steve? I mean, are Christy and Olivia? You're always kind of the strong guy, but like, are they okay with everything that happened today? I mean,
I think it was a little out of left field for some of the girls, just like, here we go again type stuff. Like the phones were really pretty hot today with a lot of communication. So, and they've been so focused on working on the nonprofit that it was maybe a little bit rough, but they're fighters, and Olivia's as smart as a whip. I was just on the phone with her 20 minutes before we talked. So yeah, she's sending me new docs. It's just like, it's that game again. Like all of a sudden you feel like you're behind the 8 ball. There's information out there and you need to like get well informed, and you're not sure where all this stuff is at. And you don't really have a leader to be like, here you go, let me get you everything. You guys shouldn't have to go chasing through paywalls to figure out what happened to your child.
Right. Yeah, no, I get it. Well, I appreciate you, Steve. I'm sorry we have to keep having these conversations, but we'll see how this plays out soon.
Hey, I appreciate you and your audience, and that people care. And I think this is the best way you can become a true crimer, is when you follow the right people, that's heart's in the right places, and they're trying to work in a constructive manner to help society get better. And that's why we've always been, one of the people that we've talked to.
I appreciate that. All right, I'll talk to you later.
Have a good one.
All right, bye. As always, I appreciate Steve for taking the time. Look, these families, like when I reached out to Steve to do the interview, he was at work. I mean, he works, like, he's in IT. You forget that these are real people, and it's like he's at work and then he gets word that all this is going down with Kohberger. And yeah, they're just trying to move on with their lives. and you can't really move on, and they've started their foundation and they talk about Kaylee every day. And it's not like they're trying to move on to forget about Kaylee, but they're trying to move on from Kohberger. And this is obviously very, very painful. They have an attorney, Shannon Gray, like a victim's rights attorney. He's actually a criminal lawyer too, who has represented them through this whole process and also understands the legal side of things. And I also wanted to talk to Shannon when this news came down. So listen to my conversation with Shannon. Hey, Shannon, it's nice to see you. I guess, first of all, I'm sorry I'm in an airport, but did this come as a surprise?
I mean, I think it probably came as a surprise to the family. As in the world that I live in with as criminal defense and former prosecutor, I see this kind of stuff all the time. I probably see it, 10 times a year. You'll have a guy that takes a guilty plea and then you'll have a guy that takes a guilty plea and then he wants to withdraw his plea at some point in time. So it's fairly common in the criminal justice system. So.
And what was your reaction?
Well, I wanted to get some more information on it, right? I wanted to see what his basis was. And, really, when you take a guilty plea, because you're in front of a judge, you have your lawyers present, you're sitting there, the judge is asking you all of the things that need to be asked. Are you doing this voluntarily, intelligently, and knowingly? Have you taken any medication today or anything that might affect your judgment? Are you happy with your counsel? Are there any questions that you need to ask counsel at this point in time? Are you guilty because you actually are guilty? Those are all things that the judges ask and did ask in this case. And he replied yes to all of them. So when you have a guilty plea like that, it's pretty rock solid. And so the only thing that you can really try to, when you appeal after a guilty plea, is whether there was ineffective assistance of counsel, whether there was some sort of Brady violation where they didn't give the information to the prosecution, didn't give the information to the defense, or there's some magical proof of your innocence, right? Those are really only the three really ways. I'm sure there's other creative arguments that you can make, legal arguments you can make, but those are the real basic ways of what you can challenge your guilty plea and try to withdraw it to get a new trial. So I wanted to kind of go ahead.
Oh, no. I was just going to say, I remember you saying when the plea deal was first announced and we talked, you were almost immediately wanting him to have to not only plead guilty the way he did, but also have to provide a statement, a confession, hear about the motive. And you wanted that from the beginning, and the prosecution didn't require that. And I was just looking back before this at the article that his family did with the New York Times, and they've never really fully, they've said we feel bad for the victims, but they've never said we're upset our brother did this. It almost makes me wonder, if this was all kind of planned on their side.
I don't know. I mean, who knows what goes on behind closed doors? I think that's a horrible plan because I got a chance to look at the affidavit that he submitted with his motion. And really the only thing that he talks about is a clump of hair. Like he references a clump of hair that supposedly Ethan had in his hands. Now, you look at it and you say, okay, well, did the defense talk to him about it, right? His defense counsel talked to him about it, or did the prosecution not give it to him? So you have to look at those things, right? So the prosecution did give it to him, because if you go back specifically, and I kind of pulled this stuff up on my phone, but if you go back and look at, it's the stipulated motion for the admission of additional exhibits as evidence at the trial, and it's a defense exhibit. And it shows debris from right hand of Ethan Chapin, which is what they're talking about as the hair. So the defense had it, right? They were aware of it. They obviously were probably aware of it too, because if they filed this motion, right, they probably talked to him about it. So he probably was aware of it as well. Additionally, in the discovery. It goes on and it's got discovery numbers at the bottom of it. It talks about in the discovery 009890, it was examined for hairs, microscopically consistent with hairs of the head of Brian Kohberger. However, none were found, right? So but really all that is an argument for trial of your innocence. It's not a basis to overturn your guilty plea. So, and just saying that, and I think it would be hard pressed for any of his counsel to say that they didn't go over that evidence with him, right? And review it. And even that, if it is, let's just go worst case scenario, they didn't go over it with him. That still doesn't rise to the level of ineffective assistance of counsel. Okay. All that argument is really is the potential that someone else might have been there, right? It didn't match Kohberger's. So someone else might have been, that's the worst case scenario. It's not for, he still admitted guilt. It's not an argument for a new trial. So I'm not really sure what they're reaching at. I mean, I've told the family, this is just another attempt at attention, and, and he has a load of people that want to, grab hold of this case and ride the train, the Kohberger train. And it's just, all it does is just cause more distress and emotion for the family. And for me, it's just putting their mind at ease. I don't think he has any chance of getting a new trial based on the affidavit that I've seen. So
did he write that affidavit? Because it seemed like he was representing himself in what I saw.
It looked like I don't know what his handwriting is, but it looks like it was written out of a jail cell, right? I mean, it was, see if I've got, he signed it, I'm pretty sure. Let's see what I've got here. It looks like it was signed by him and dated under certificate of perjury on July 22nd. So,
So I read in your statement, well, first of all, it's interesting. And in his statement, he said Broken Plea, which is the name of that book that came out. So
yeah,
I wonder if he read the book and that sort of inspired him.
I'm sure it did. I mean, the reality of it is almost every case you can have alternative theories. That's the reason you have trials. I mean, I say you were doing this, you say you were doing something. I say it was, you were there because of this. You say, no, I was there because of that, right? That's the whole thing. The Broken Plea book, I haven't read it. But, my take on that book to a certain degree is an author that's giving alternative theories. He's presenting evidence in a way that makes you question things, which our books are about. That's what they're supposed to do, is to invoke thought and processes. And he probably grabbed a hold of it and thought, maybe this gives me a shot at something, right? And so he files to try to withdraw his plea because you only have a year to do it, right? So it was coming up on, but none of it, anything that's come out so far, I don't see of anything that would give him a new trial.
Have the prosecutors reached out to you or the family?
We got an email today about it. Basically, they said that they're not worried about it.
Okay.
So I take that with a grain of salt. We don't have the good thing is that the family has me to advise them, and it's not the prosecutor's office of Latah County.
Right. Yeah. And just my last thing, and I think I texted you this, but, people gave you guys a hard time, like, oh, the Gonzalez's are always making a fuss about everything, that he didn't do the full confession, that he did blah, blah. But this kind of goes back to what you were fighting for. I mean, granted, you're saying it's not going to go anywhere, but, I think there's a reason that you guys wanted a trial and a reason you wanted a full confession.
Well, you have the power in that case. If the person wants something from you, if the defendant wants something from you, you say, okay, well, I'll give it to you if you meet A, B, C, and D. And they say, well, I'll give A, and B, but I'm not going to give C and D. You can either say, okay, we'll take it then. Or you can say, no, I want A, B, C, and D. And for us, it was something from him, a statement, about what happened, what he did, anything like that. And guess what that does? That just locks it in. I mean, it's even more solid of a plea, right? Because he makes a statement about what he did. These guys that go in and they plead guilty and they don't make any statements, there's this idea that maybe they can withdraw their plea at a later date or things like that. But any of his arguments none of it negates the fact that he pled guilty. There's DNA evidence there. There was plenty of evidence to convict him at trial. And nothing that I see at this time would call for a new trial in any way. And I've advised my clients that way. So, it's just more grandstanding, I think, on Kohberger's place. And, Mike's a reporter, Mike Baker, New York Times reporter. He's a reporter. I know him, and he's a nice guy, and I'm sure he was excited about Kohberger speaking with him, and he wanted to let everybody know. And, and so I get that, it's probably
and it's
good.
News. It's also news. I mean,
it's news, and it's good for his career, and stuff like that. So I get it. It doesn't negate the fact that the more you give people attention, especially narcissists, the more they'll take. And if you don't, oddly enough, news is power, right? And the more news you give them, the more powerful they feel. And there's going to be probably, 10 shows tonight about the legal analysis of withdrawing your plea of guilty. And someone will claim, well, if this and this and this could have happened and this could have happened, then yeah, he'll get a new trial, right? But there's nothing in his affidavit that calls for a new trial. The plea was I thought it was lock solid. Judge Hippler asked him all the questions you need to ask. Are you in fact guilty of the case, a trial? Yes, I am guilty, right? So, those things are not easily overturned. And the plea petitions have wording in there to make sure that the plea is not overturned, right? So unless there's some ineffective assistance of counsel, which I don't think any of us have thought that from the beginning, it's 2 years of motions and motion after motion after motion, and you should never follow this, motion that says, yes, the case law has been this way for 100 years, but in our case, you should change it. Those types of motions, right? I don't think he's going to win on that either. And I don't think any of the defense attorneys in this case are going to fall on their sword and say, you're right, we were dumb. We didn't go over that with him. We were stupid. You should give him a new trial. We were horrible. Right.
Yeah, right.
They're not going to do that. So, I mean, because that's where they'll go to on ineffective assistance of counsel. I've had, defendants claim it all the time. And then you have to just basically develop your own affidavit and said, I talked with them about the facts of the case. I went through the discovery on the case. I advised them of what the options were. We were ready for trial. They chose to take the plea. I advised them on the plea and all the things that go with the plea. I advised them about jail and what that looked like and any credit for time served or programs they could be available for. And my client decided to take the plea on this, And the idea that I think I had to explain this to Steve, today. He's like, yeah, but he's saying that they forced him because of the death penalty. He was hanging over him. Well, guess what? Criminal cases are all that. I mean, if you're charged with a burglary in the first degree and the maximum penalty you could get is 5 years and you take a deal for 2 years, right? Your excuse is not, well, the only reason I took the deal for 2 years is because I could have got 5 years. I mean, that's his argument, right? That's the argument in the affidavit. Well, the death penalty. So what? With that goes with the crime. Right? Just because you took something less doesn't mean that the maximum penalty for that crime forced you into taking it. You just got a better deal, is all it is.
Shannon's another person that I've been in touch with since the beginning of this whole thing. It's interesting, like with cases like this and stories like this that I cover for years, you develop these relationships with the players involved. Maybe players isn't the right word, but people involved. And, it's like, right when you think the whole thing's over, suddenly it's like, you're doing interviews again. And I just feel for all of them. I really feel for the families, for Ethan's family, for Xana's family, for Maddie's family, for Katie's family. But we'll see how this plays out. And look, there's a system in place and the law will do its thing. And doesn't seem like he's going to get the appeal. But if he does, then that's what I'll cover. And we'll see how it plays out from there. So I appreciate you guys for watching. I appreciate everybody who subscribed. again, I didn't know this was going to happen today, or I wouldn't be here in Arizona working on some Nancy Guthrie stuff. I knew maybe it was going to happen soon. I didn't know today, though. So I'll stay on top of it. If I can find out anything new, I'll keep you guys posted. Super hot out here, by the way. I don't know if any of you guys live in Arizona. It's like, I'm from Florida where, you know, it's like humid. It's a different kind of heat here. I mean, it's just, maybe I'm just used to that Florida heat, but it's like a sauna here. So I'll keep you guys posted and I'll talk to you guys later.
Okay, y'all. Thank you guys for hanging out with us this long. I didn't mean for it to take this long, but you know, just want to get different opinions from people who I trust to give us the truth. It looks like right now the majority says that Brian Kohberger's appeal that he just filed yesterday, a handwritten appeal, that he wants to retract his guilty verdict, that he says he was lied to about, or his plea, I'm sorry, that he was lied to about, that there was evidence that was withheld from him that he never knew about. And he had ineffective counsel. So that is what he is doing right now. We've not heard back from the courts yet. I too think there will be at least a hearing about this. I'm not very hopeful myself that he is going to have another trial, which, listen, I'm all for the trial. I want to know what happened, when it happened. And a lot of people fucked up this case, especially the judge, both sides of the lawyer sides, when they did not make him say where the clothing was that he wore after he confessed.
Never made him do anything.
Yep, he didn't have to confess. All he had to do was answer yes when they asked him, is he confessing to murder? All he had to say was yes. That was it. He didn't have to give anything else. Now, if you know anything about the BTK murders, he was a serial killer. When he took a plea deal, he was forced to stand in front of everybody, give a play-by-play of all of his murders and such. And he wasn't the only one. But do remember, people that have been, this has been going on for years and years and years, and it will continue to go on for years and years and years, that people who, no matter what, I mean, there's no way to find this person innocent. They will always have fans. I don't understand that kind of fandom at all. And Brian Kohberger has fans. They put a lot of money into his accounts, which actually there was a petition filed by the families because he owes restitution for the families. And so they said, look, all this money that he's getting on his commissary, he needs to be using some of that to pay some of the restitution back. So there's that. We will continue to keep an eye on this case and bring it to you. I'm, like I said in the beginning, you guys, I'm not interested in being the first person on YouTube to break the news to you. Okay, I'm interested in actually bringing factual information about what's breaking. Okay, and I'm not saying other YouTubers don't do that. I'm just saying for me, it's more important to bring as factual as I can by doing my own research on it and looking through the court filings and things like that, than it is for me to just be able to break news so that I will get new subscribers and get more people coming to the channel. That matters not to me. So that's what I do. But eventually, I'm telling you, within that day, Maggie and I will have figured out where exactly, you know, what at least right now the truth is, and what we've got for evidence to make this truth. And we will keep an eye on it, and we will always cover it. Maggie, do you want to read that? Because you were able to, I couldn't read it. I just could not read it. His
see that?
And not yet. Yes. If you guys look, I mean, if you guys can make heads or tails of his writing, for me, it's very hard, but my eyesight is bad right now because I'm not wearing my prescription glasses either. But this listen, I think he sounds just like a lawyer. I was like, wait, what is he going to represent himself? If
I've
this
just
goes
read
through?
it, and I was like, shut up, Lean. He doesn't sound cleverer than that.
No, but
Anyway.
the way he talks about himself in the third
Oh, I know,
person,
and the way he
and
mentions
yeah, like
Ethan
he's
writing
talking
his name
about
like going mad.
yeah, and the way he's talking about himself as his own client instead of talking about himself. I'm like,
No.
yeah. All right, so we will listen to the letter one time from Maggie. Then I have
Yeah.
a 10-minute thing to play, and then we will be done with this for today.
So, Brian C. Kohberger, being first duly sworn on oath, disposes and says, it is hereby declared that during attorney-client discussions, most of which included all members of Brian C. Kohberger's immediate family, petitioner was convinced to falsely confess to capital murder and felony burglary by coercion, disinformation, false promises, and the withholding of expulsory discovery. The following is material to the inception of the plea. 1. Counsel's failure to inform petitioner of expulsory discovery received during plea discussions, namely clumps of unknown hair found in Ethan Chapin's hands, as well as a failure of further inquiry. 2. Petitioner was convinced that actual guilt was not an important factor in considering plea acceptance. Death row was imminent and advised to lie. Petitioner was to gain a legal victory in entering a false plea. 3. A gross misinterpretation of a promises regarding what a life sentence would immediately afford petitioner, and a gross misrepresentation of death row in Idaho, including an elaborate story of counsel's horrific experience during actual 8x8 death. It's unclear what the next word was. So we haven't got a clue, as you can see that in the letter. So that was it. It says the final line is cut off in the photo, so the last words can't be read with confidence. So what do you think of that? I couldn't make head and fucking tails of it, if I'm being honest. Am I still on here?
Sorry, I went to go and grab a smoke while you were reading
It's
that.
all right, I thought so. Have I been reading out?
Oh,
It's
no,
all
no.
gone off.
No, we could hear
So-
you, and thank you for doing that.
Oh, hang on a minute. That must have made it. Let me make it bigger. Oh, can you not see that big?
No, we can see Nate Eaton, which he's good too. He's right out of Idaho, and he's been covering this
No,
case since the
it's-
beginning too. But there are other channels that have been able to break it down exactly what it all says, and that's how I found it. And I failed to screenshot it, I guess. But listen, I'm not as hopeful as I was, because I really would like to go to trial, and maybe I'm just biased to it. Like I feel like that we've done so much work on this case that we almost deserve to hear what went on and what happened and what he thinks he can use to get off on this, because as far as I'm concerned, all of the research that we did points to guilty beyond a shadow of a doubt. And I think Ann Taylor and team knew that. And they were like, look, Brian, we tried to get it off the table. We tried to get the death penalty off the table. You're going to be found guilty. So do you want to go to the death chambers, or do you want to just hang out in population, with somebody watching your back, maybe get, a little bit of notoriety in there? I don't know. And I could see that being said to him, because Ann Taylor, as much as I don't like her, I think she did everything she could to get not to claim an innocence, but just to get the death penalty off the table And I think that was because she knew they have too much evidence against him. And when it went to trial, they were not going to find a jury that wouldn't find him innocent. He just, I mean, just the stuff we know. But we'll keep following this case, guys. We things that we talk about on here as far as true crime goes, we don't just drop them and forget about them. We're still interested. We're still following. We're still paying attention. But if there's nothing to report, there's nothing to report. This to me was worth reporting. So that's why Maggie and I went and we did some researching over the last night and into this morning and brought it in. So, that's why we always tell you, please make sure that your bells are on so we can ring a ding ding them, because you never know. I mean, Maggie might be just driving around the city of Liverpool and might be giving you a tour. You might be interested in that. I might be sitting here with my dogs watching their antics and just talking about life. And so that might not be planned. And this pop-up, some people probably did not get notifications because all is not clicked in on your whatever it is on your subscription. But anyways, so we appreciate you guys being here. It means so very much to us. On another point, before we finish this up with Brian Kohberger, we started 2 days ago, the Lindsay Clancy trial. On Sunday, Maggie and I broke it down to remind ourselves what the trial is about, what Lindsay Clancy is being charged, being accused of, and what all happened to the best of our ability. And then we were ready for trial yesterday morning. We did a full day of trial in that case yesterday. Today, trial was suspended for the day because of another engagement by someone who's impertinent in the court. The judge or somebody had something that they could not be in court for. So it will pick back up tomorrow, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We've already got it scheduled, you guys. We will be on here, or at least I'll be on here at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time in the morning to prepare for trial all day in the Lindsay Clancy case of murdering her Did she murder her 3 children? Was she over-medicated? Was she neglected by the system, her family, or anybody else? We don't know, but we're going to follow it through and see it through for these kids, Cora and Dawson and Callan. So, we're just going to see it through. So anything else that goes on with this, with Nancy Guthrie, with the cases that are still open that we're just like, what the hell is going on? We're watching. We got our eyes on it. And if it's impertinent information or it's going to open up something and possibly change the case, we will be going live. Maybe not right away because we like to validate everything we say, then and bring you something that's factual. Give us a couple of hours or whatever, and one or both of us will be here. So we hope that you guys will join us weekdays, 9, like I said, 8:30 to 9. Weekdays, Eastern Standard Time, going through the Lindsay Clancy trial, the murder of her 3 children. We will be covering that. And yesterday's was phenomenal. We had a lot of people in chat and a lot of great thoughts and people, because I've never met anybody that had any kind of psychosis. And there were so many women that came in a chat and just talked about their personal experience with it. And it's heartbreaking, but at the same time, it's so educational to get a better understanding of what she may have been going through. Time will tell on through the trial if that's really the case or not. And then people talking about their own experiences with different kind of drugs, mental health drugs and things like that, that stuff's what it does and what it's for and things like that. So just want to give a shout out to all those that were in chat yesterday and that were so honest and vulnerable, giving their stories. And I mean, it was beautiful. But anyways, if you're into that kind of thing, hey, join us and hang out with us. Come and chat with us. Let us know what you think. If you're willing to share your experience, then do that. We appreciate that so much. Maggie, you got anything to say about that?
I've just done a poll anyway. So
Okay,
it's on your post, Lee. It's on your post.
Okay. Yeah. So go. Oh, you mean the
Go
post
over.
on you?
Yeah, on your channel. Yeah.
Okay. So on the According to Leanie channel, which is on what we're on right now, you guys follow our community posts, because you will know, like, if something happens and we can't be here for the day, we will definitely let you guys know. But we think we've worked all that out. But anyways, there's updates, just personal life things sometimes, and sometimes just what we're covering or whatever. There's a poll that Maggie put up. Do you think that that Brian is actually going to win this, and that it will be thrown out and we will go to trial? Or do you think the judge is going to say, nice try, get back to jail and shut the hell up?
This is the questions. So based on everything you've seen so far, do you believe Brian Kohberger has a realistic chance of getting a retrial? Yes, I think so. No, I don't. Or I'm undecided. There's your 3 questions.
Well, I will go over and vote as well. And I'll tell you, my vote is I'm undecided, because this case threw me for a loop. The minute I thought, oh God, we're figuring this out. And like Maggie was telling me the whole time, he's going to plead out. And I'm like, no, he's not. It's getting too close. We know now that Brian is a fourth quarter running back, you guys. He's not going to make any decisions until we're in the fourth quarter, which is exactly what he did. Exactly what he did in what was supposed to be the beginning of his trial. And apparently what he's doing right now with the deadline of the appeals coming to the end. So we know that's what he's doing. So that's go on over, give us a poll on that. We'll talk about that too as time allows. But we really do hope that you guys will come hang out with us, give us your opinion, and give us your story. Give us whatever you want to. Jump into chat. Don't feel don't be embarrassed or scared to say anything because you might be blasted. That does not happen here at all. The only one that blasts anybody is me blasting someone who really, really deserves it, because they're disrespectful. And I don't put up with disrespect here. Neither do the mods, neither does Maggie. But usually they'll just make sure you're gone. But I'm going to give you an earful first because I'm hot-headed, y'all.
And guys, yesterday when we were gabbing in chat, as you know, the court proceeding was going on, we listened to the trial and that. Well, the opening statements. I couldn't believe I missed so much. I was like, oh my God. So today I put the buds in as I'm cooking, making soup, and I was listening to it again. I was like, so you know what? Tomorrow I'm shutting up. I'm not going to speak while the court's on. If you do miss things.
I don't think it's so much that we were speaking, because we're pretty good about muting our mics when court is in session. It's because we're paying attention to chat and we're typing and trying to answer the questions and welcome everybody. Because I mean, we didn't have a lot of mods. I'm thinking about the whole mod situation again. And as the channel is getting bigger, even the mods, they have their own lives. And some of them don't only mod for my channel. So, Maggie and I are thinking about that as well, because it's really hard. Not trying to be mean, but it's really hard to, we've got all these files open to bring to, put on something that we think is valuable to a case. Plus, we're having to welcome everybody, because that is my number one thing, is that I want everybody to feel welcome. Because, listen, before I started my own channel, most channels I never felt welcome in at all. Nobody greeted me. Nobody gave a damn.
They really don't.
Anyways, it's really important for me that everybody at least is welcomed and let know
Well,
that
I've
you're.
sent it over. I've shared it in the Discord, so the mods will know if they can be there, they can be there.
Yeah, but
it's just one of them, isn't it?
Yeah, and I am considering maybe things will settle down more in the fall. I know summer's a hard time for everyone.
It normally is.
So, but we'll see how it goes, and then if not, then like I said many times, everybody has a place at According to Lena. You just have to find what is your place. Are you a mod? Are you a panel guest? Do you have something are you in law enforcement? Do you have law enforcement background? Do you have anything in the court kind of background where you can help us understand language and why they're doing certain things and allowing things that we don't understand? Are you a person that sits up in the bushes just to keep track on what I'm doing so you could go talk shit about me to your channel? I don't know. Whatever your place is, find it, because there's a place here for you. There is. And listen, this channel doesn't work off just me and Maggie. It works off by all of us working together.
Takes a team. Takes a team.
It does. It really does. So we hope to see you there in our journey and are continuing with all of these cases that we have really worked hard on. Let me go ahead and play the last thing that I have, and then we're going to close this one out because we will be live again bright and early tomorrow. And we also don't know if anything's going to happen in the next couple hours that we've got to do a pop-up live for. So make sure your bells are turned to all so we could ring-a-ding-ding you and let you know that we're at your door at YouTube if you would like to step in. All right. Listen, anything you got to say, Mags?
I'll stop. I'll bow out now then, Lee, and start packing my stuff away and get up to bed. So I'll be listening to what you've got to say or playing now as I'm getting things ready. And so I'll say good night and God bless you and everyone. Have a good day, a good night wherever you are. And I'll see you all in the morning. See you in the morning, Lee.
Love you so much. Get some good rest.
Good night, love.
Thank you for everything. All right, I'm going to share this one last thing, you guys, because you guys know I can't go a day without checking in with my boo thing. And so I'm going to check in with my boo thing. If y'all don't know, that is Nancy Grace. This is only, she has not done a live or a video on what we've been talking about Brian Kohberger yet, but she has chimed in on a couple of channels, and she does have something to say. This is only 11 minutes long. If you don't want to stay and listen to it, I understand. Thank you for being here. If you do, you're welcome to it. Right after this, we will go into our outro. So again, thank you for being here. We appreciate you. Let's welcome our Nancy Grace. I love this story. Make sure I've made it as big as I can. All right, you have to control your volume, guys. I can't control that.
Brian Kohberger pled guilty to 4 murders. They were worse than murders. They were slaughters of 4 innocent college students, University of Idaho. There's no easy way to report this other than what in the HELL? 4-time convicted killer Brian Kohberger now claims he's innocent and wants to withdraw his guilty plea. Repeat. Brian Kohberger, 4-time convicted killer, now claims, I didn't do it. I'm innocent. I'm withdrawing my guilty plea. I first got the bombshell from the victim's family. I thought something must be wrong. They're right. Brian Kohberger seeking to withdraw his guilty plea. If that happens, please, dear Lord, bring in an independent prosecutor, not that POS that pled it out cheap to start with. Joining me, Crime Stories investigative reporter Dave Mack. What the hey?
Nancy, I thought that all of this was already settled, that Brian Kohberger was not going to be able to go back on his guilty plea and do this to us. I mean, I say to us because we were so invested in this case. We were so tied into the victims. And for him to now come back a year later and say he is absolutely, this is what he says, an absolute claim of innocence, Nancy. It is despicable. And I cannot believe we're having to talk about him now because he's saying basically they lied to him, that he pled guilty.
Okay, Dave Mack, I think you're sitting down, but you may need to lay down for this. Why am I seeing him? Why can't I see the victims? Why can't I see Kelly? Why can't I see Maddie, Ethan? Where are the victims? Brian Kohberger, lay down, Dave Mack. Brian Kohberger now claims he's innocent and wants to withdraw his guilty plea a year after he admitted in open court he butchered 4 students. He now claims he was duped, tricked into agreeing to a guilty plea because of false promises and blatant disinformation. And Dave Mack, you had it right. He is maintaining a, quote, absolute claim of innocence. Duped? What, that he was misled? What is he saying? His fleet of defense attorneys all got together to trick him?
Nancy, can I add something to this? Because there was a problem with when we saw this happen where he pleads guilty but does not really have to allocute. He didn't have to say anything. Remember, the prosecution let him off easy. And I knew this was going to happen because he didn't admit to anything really in real life. I mean, yeah, okay, I did it. And I agree, I won't come back later and say I didn't do it. But he's doing that. And he didn't have to allocate. He didn't tell us what he did or why he did it. He didn't have to tell us anything. And when I say us, I'm not talking about the families, the victims. He didn't have to say jack. And you know what? I really wonder what Kaylee Gonzalez's sister is saying right this minute, Nancy, because she would let him have it. Saying he is absolutely innocent.
Well, I can tell you this much. I've heard from several of the victims' families so far, and they all independently, separated in time and space, say POS. I think you know what that means. It's not a technical legal term. Guys, in the last hours, this is not just an interview, a jailhouse interview where he's like, I didn't do it. No. Post-conviction relief motion has been filed today. Post-conviction relief. What does that mean? After your conviction. Post-conviction relief. That means you have been done wrong and you're asking the court to fix it. I mean, you said that you were suspicious on day one when the state did not make him allocute as to what happened. Was he planning this all along? He's such a little perv. Maybe he was. I don't know. But you're right, Dave Mack. You know what? I asked you, Control Room, to show me the victims. Now you're showing me Brian Kohberger without a shirt on. Did you not understand the first directive? Show me the victims. Thank you. Good gravy. You've got Xana. You've got Maddie. You've got Kelly, Ethan, the names I will never forget. And behind each name is a beautiful young University of Idaho student. And behind that student, families devastated. And now it starts all over again. Will the court allow it? My guess is yes. But Dave Mack, you called it day one. They did not make him allocute.
No, he didn't have to say anything in court, Nancy. He didn't have to stand up before the judge, God, and everyone watching and say, I did it. Here's what I did. Here's why I did it. He didn't have to do any of that. And to say he was duped, he got away with killing 4 people. He ends up in prison for the rest of his life, but he dodges the needle or the bullet. And yet he never had to say anything other than, oh yeah, I did it. I thought it was gross the day it happened. You were livid. And now here we are. And he's actually pulling it exactly what we thought he was going to do. No,
you need to lay back down, Dave. You need to lay back down. Okay. Quote, my actual innocence is my truth. Those words actually came from Kohberger. My actual innocence is my truth. When somebody starts talking about telling his truth, as opposed to the other truth, my actual innocence is my truth. My plea was hinged only on, I want to read it exactly. My plea was hinged on false promises and blatant disinformation, and my plea must be withdrawn. Am I understanding this correctly that he said all this to the New York Times?
He did.
That's where this is coming from?
He sent it to yep. The New York Times got it late last night and made sure, of course, that it was from him and then came out with it publicly. But Nancy, going back on this a year later, when part of the deal was that he would not be able to come back later on and say he had been duped. He actually signed off saying, I won't do this. I can't do this. It's part of the deal. You know far better than anyone how the system works. The fact that we are having to discuss Brian Kohberger and not the families or something good about what's taking place is just beyond the pale.
And this after the Gonsalves family has created a foundation in honor of the victims. And in that foundation, the Gonsalveses are raising money to have DNA testing done on cases that are just sitting there with no movement, waiting until there can be money, time, and personnel to carry out the DNA tests. You're right. They have taken all that pain and are trying to turn it into something good. And now this, I want to give you the name of the Gonsalves Foundation. It's called Murder Has a Name. Post-conviction relief typically revolves around newly discovered evidence. But in this case, Kohberger is insisting that he was hoodwinked and that he is absolutely innocent. Okay, I believe prayers can be answered. Please grant him his wish. Please allow this case to go to trial. So finally, once and for all, we know the truth of what happened. Because Dave Mack, isn't it true that more and more evidence has leaked out after the plea? And one wave of evidence is more damning than the last.
You're right, Nancy. A lot of information has come out after the verdict, after he was sent away. The information that started coming out gave us details about the crime scene. There was a lot that was left unsaid leading up to trial. And then when he flipped and took the plea deal, we didn't get to see it. But I don't know how, if it was really leaked or if it was, oops, I'm sorry, I hit the wrong button and made all this accessible. But we've now seen everything inside, up to a lot more than we knew before he pleaded guilty. But we know about what took place in those rooms. We know to what degree each individual fought back, which it's a lot more different than what we knew beforehand. So yeah, we know a lot more now after the plea. But you're right. If he wants to bring it all up and fight, oh my goodness, Nancy Grace. The prosecution will have to get a new prosecutor because we actually have to have somebody with some stones that can get in there and do the job.
Look around. Where do you think you are? Do you think you're at pre-K? Do you think you're in the narthex at the United Methodist Church? We need a prosecutor with. That's what we need. I don't even know what you're talking about. The Idaho AG has waded into this, states that they are, quote, ready to do whatever is necessary to ensure justice. Well, number one, appoint an independent prosecutor and let's go to trial. We wait as justice unfolds. Be careful, Kohberger, what you ask for you will surely get it. And I will be on the front row. Goodbye, friend.
Y'all, that's my girl. That's my boo thing, y'all. That is my boo thing. John, thank you so much. We appreciate you so much for that. Thank you. Listen, money is not necessary here. Just you guys being here with us and chatting with us, supporting the channel. Y'all, that means more to us than anything, honest to God. We've never taken a dime from this channel. Nobody has, not me, not anybody else. It has always gone to pay for our StreamYard so we can continue to do what we do. And but so that money will be just left right there, and it will continue to help pay for StreamYard. So from the bottom of my heart, that means so much to us. Thank you guys so much. Guys, that is it. That is it. We will be back tomorrow morning unless some other news is breaking and I can get it verified before I go live. We will be here. If not, I will see you bright and early Eastern Standard Time, 8:30 in the morning, so we can do a little bit of chatting before we go in the courtroom to finish listening to Lindsay Clancy's ex-husband. Yes, you heard me. Her ex-husband, Patrick Clancy, is on the stand, and we will finish listening to his testimony, and then the defense will get a chance to cross-examine him. So we will be here. Thank you guys so much for being here. We appreciate you so much. You guys mean the world to us, and your support means everything. Without you guys, we ain't got nothing going on here, y'all. That is the truth. All right, listen, y'all be good or be good at it, and we'll see you next time. Bye.